I missed a hamburger. I missed a good hamburger.
Okay, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Yarmouth Select Board meeting of July 21st, 2026. If you'd please all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. I'd like to also ask you to please join me in a moment of silence to reflect and think about our service members that are serving in harm's way this evening. Thank you very much. We are going to begin with our 6 p.m. item of announcements. Is there anybody who has any announcements? Liz?
No, I have no announcements.
Joyce?
All quiet here.
Okay.
All quiet.
Mark? Bob, you want to?
No announcements.
No announcements. Okay. Does anybody in the public, any staff or anybody have any announcements? Okay, we're going to move to public comment. Is there anybody who would like to address the board this evening? Please come and identify yourself. Hi, Christine.
Good evening, Christine Marzigliano. I'm here tonight to talk about the sign for Chasebrook Park. For those of you who don't know the history of this park, I'd like to share with you the following. Over 20 years ago, when the nightclub burned down, it was the neighbors, store owners, and organizations that came together to save this waterfront property. Together with land bank funds, federal funds, 25 businesses and organizations, 28 individuals, and 15 memorials, Chasebrook Park was finally created. And the park sign reflected, in appreciation, the source of the funds used to acquire this parkland. Then the town acquired the property 2 Light City East to become Mill Creek Park. And 9 years ago, the town came to the Open Space Committee, and I filed an application to acquire the Yankee Village property in anticipation of merging the 3 properties into one Vista View Park. This complete application with letters of recommendation was filed in 2017. I was there for the demolition of the motel, continued to take pictures of the progress creating this new park. Many of these photos were used in obtaining the grant that partially financed the new park. The very reason the name Chasebrook Park was chosen was because of the many donations that came from the community in creating the original Chasebrook Park. This park was not created solely from town and municipal funds, and the original sign reflected these contributions. It's most disappointing to see that the new sign proposed merely reflects the park name and not the donors that originally saved the Chasebrook Park portion. I urge this town to reconsider this new sign proposal and once again reflect how the property was originally required. It's hard to understand eliminating the donors. You know, when Gray's Beach a couple years ago lost the planks from the boardwalk, Natural Resources went out and got those planks, but they were obtained by making donations to the town. The same thing is with Chasebrook Park. It's a unique park. It was started by the community, not just with town funds. The land bank people, Jack Mulkeen, Jack Grebe, Duncan Oliver, they're all my friends, and I think they would be greatly disappointed to see the elimination of the donors from this sign. I don't think you destroy history, you celebrate it, and I think that the donor's name should be somewhere. There's a compromise here. You can have the new sign where Yankee Village was and put the old sign back over where the Chasebrook was, or you can return the donors' names to the back of the sign as was originally proposed. So later on tonight, I urge your consideration to, take another look at the proposal for this sign. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. We did receive your email today, and we appreciate your comments and for all of your work, your volunteerism in the community. I know you're really passionate about open space, and we've been the beneficiary of that. So, is there anybody else who would like to address the board this evening? Seeing nobody. Seeing nobody online that has their hand raised. I'm going to give it 1 second. Okay. We are moving on to our 6:15 item. Chief, are you, Deputy, are you ready, or should we
I am.
give it a, okay. I didn't know if anybody else was coming.
I don't think any of the individuals involved are going to be
Okay.
in attendance tonight.
Okay.
Probably at the beach.
Not hope that, not
It's
tonight.
raining. All right. Do you have, not sure how you want to do this. You want to say a little bit of something about each of them, or would you like me to read each proclamation and take them one at a time?
I'd like to say a little something about
Absolutely,
each of them.
sir.
So tonight we acknowledge 3 individuals who had a tremendous impact on the Yarmouth Police Department. 2 sergeants and 1 longtime detective who served our community with pride and integrity. As with most retirements, we are sad to lose great people with experience and knowledge that these 3 have. But we're also excited for them to go on to the next chapter of their lives. The first one we want to acknowledge is Detective Eric Nuss. Detective Nuss retires after proudly serving in law enforcement for more than 32 years. Detective Nuss started his career with the University of Massachusetts Memorial Medical Center in Worcester in 1994. He relocated to Cape Cod in 1995 and joined the Dennis Police Department. He came to us in the spring of 1997 as a patrol officer. During his tenure with the YPD, Detective Nuss served in a variety of capacities. He began as a patrol officer and went on to serve as a field training officer, an ATV operator, alcohol licensing liaison, citizen police academy instructor, and numerous other roles. Throughout his career, Detective Nuss handled hundreds of cases. He conducted countless victim interviews, always demonstrating compassion, respect, and professionalism. He tirelessly pursued offenders, sometimes across the country. He conducted complex interrogations and built airtight cases for court. On behalf of the men and women of the Yarmouth Police Department, we want to thank Detective Eric Nuss for a job well done and congratulate him on his retirement. The second officer we want to recognize is Sergeant Andrew Colville. Sergeant Andrew Colville joined our department in 2012 after serving our country in the United States Marine Corps. Sergeant Colville wanted to serve the community he grew up in and did so with a high degree of professionalism, compassion, and an unwavering commitment to others. Throughout his career, he took on a variety of roles, consistently going above and beyond expectations. As a field training officer, he helped shape and mentor the next generation of officers. As a peer support team leader, he ensured fellow officers received critical support during some of the most challenging moments of their careers. Recognizing a need within the community, Sergeant Colville created our Veterans Outreach Program, connecting veterans facing mental health challenges with vital resources and support. His leadership and dedication have left a lasting impact both inside and outside the department. The third officer we want to recognize is Sergeant George Tsoukalis. Sergeant Tsoukalis is retiring after nearly 30 years of dedicated service to the Yarmouth Police Department. Since joining the department in 1997, Sergeant Tsoukalis has served our community with professionalism, leadership, and dedication. From mentoring new officers as a field training officer and supervisor, to serving a firearms instructor, Cape Cod Regional SWAT team leader, and a member of our peer support team, his impact on the department and our members he worked with is immeasurable. We thank Sergeant Tsoukalis for his years of service, sacrifice, and leadership, and congratulate him on the next chapter of his life. We wish him a long, healthy, and well-deserved retirement filled with quality time with family and new adventures. All of these officers will be difficult for us to replace. They have left the Yarmouth Police Department in a better place for having worked here for so many years. Legacy is important to all of us, and these 3 officers have definitely left an impactful legacy on the Yarmouth Police Department. We want to thank them for their service and wish them a happy and healthy retirement. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to read our citations into the record. The Town of Yarmouth official citation. Be it known that the Town of Yarmouth hereby recognizes Andrew W. Colville on his retirement as a police sergeant effective March 22nd, 2026, for the dedicated service to the Town of Yarmouth, And be it further known that the town of Yarmouth extends its sincere thanks and gratitude for almost 12 years of tireless service as a police officer. Did I say 12?
14.
It's 14, I'm sorry. His selfless efforts in aiding and protecting the citizens of Yarmouth are greatly appreciated. This citation is duly signed by the Chair of the Yarmouth Select Board on the 21st day of July in the year of our Lord 2026. It's crazy to think I was sitting here and I remember him as somebody just out of the Marines and shaking his hand, welcoming him to our
geez.
town. So,
It's all crazy how time flies. One of the things that I left out, Detective Nuss was my FTO when I first came to
That was a very important point.
oh, it's crazy. The Town of Yarmouth, official citation, be it known that the Town of Yarmouth hereby recognizes George Sakalis on his retirement as a police sergeant effective April 30th, 2026, and for his dedication and his dedicated service to the Town of Yarmouth. And be it further known that the Town of Yarmouth extends its sincere thanks and gratitude for almost 29 years of tireless service as a police officer. His selfless efforts in aiding and protecting the citizens of Yarmouth are greatly appreciated. Again, signed by the Chair of the Board on behalf of the Board. And the Town of Yarmouth, official citation, be it known that the Town of Yarmouth recognizes Eric H. Nuss on his retirement as a police detective effective June 20th, 2026, for his dedicated service to the Town of Yarmouth. And be it further known that the Town of Yarmouth extends its sincere thanks and gratitude for 29 years of tireless service as a police officer. His selfless efforts in aiding and protecting the citizens of Yarmouth are greatly appreciated. Duly signed by the Board. And is there anybody on the Board that would like to make any comments?
I can make just a quick comment that makes me so proud that Yarmouth can boast the police department that it has, and it's wonderful that we have the new police officers who we had 2 weeks ago at our select board meeting. So, Yarmouth Police.
We appreciate the support. Thank you.
Thank you for the community policing, all of you, and thank you for the Stuffer Cruiser last week.
Is there anybody else? Dorcas, Mark?
I agree with everything that's been said.
So do I.
I have to tell you, I'm going to be a little fresh for a second because I have another citation that I asked to prepare. It's for Erica Wenberg, who also retired after 30 years of service and did not want to be recognized by this board. So
But it did her no good, did
it did her no good because she's my friend, and anybody who gives that type of service to the town, whether you want to be recognized or not, should get our thanks. And I'm not going to read it into the record, but I just want to make sure that she knows that we appreciate her thanks. We know, and we give her our thanks for her service.
Erica was a very valuable member and also very humble. We made our feelings known to Erica, and she did the same thing as she left. She didn't want any fanfare, but she will be missed and by the police department as well as the community with all of the work that she did for us.
Absolutely. I think one of the things, all of them, they find their niche. You talked a little bit about it with, Andrew and his military service, and he was able to help other military services. I watched Erica behind the scenes go out of her way to make sure some of our older population or challenged population had heat. Things that were way above and beyond what a police officer does, but when she found out about it, she did not let it be. And that's a true reflection of what we want in our town employees and in our police officers. It's above and beyond. All of them do. I'm not trying to pull her out. I just know some stories about some of the things that she's done, and it's very heartwarming, and it makes me proud to sit here. And we have such a wonderful police force, every one of them. But it is interesting how they all kind of find their little niche and excel and shine in those places. And we're just fortunate that we have a leadership that allows that to happen. So I'm going to give these to you if you would please make sure that they get them.
Just to piggyback on that, we have great officers, but the one thing that we have above and beyond everything is good people. And that's really what makes great officers in the police
Yes.
department.
Absolutely.
you very much. We are going to move on. I see the deputy fire.
Our chief is here.
Yep.
Chief's here.
Chief's here too.
Hiding behind the
Oh,
podium.
there you are.
It's hiding.
Okay.
Or a seat.
It's your time to shine. Good evening.
How you doing? Nice to see you all. You going first? Yeah. So I think we're here to recognize Keith Salins. Unfortunately, he had a family emergency and couldn't be here tonight. But you know, it's typical for Keith because he's that guy who's always taking care of everything for everybody else. We had prepared some words for him, so I'll read them anyway, and hopefully he can watch it at some point. Tonight we wanted to recognize firefighter paramedic Keith Salins for an incredible 33 years of dedicated service to the town and to the Yarmouth Fire Department. Keith's career is a testament to unwavering commitment, starting his journey as a call firefighter before stepping up to become a full-time firefighter paramedic. Throughout his 33 years, he has been known for his steady, calm demeanor and his consummate professionalism, always bringing a sense of reassurance to the most chaotic and high-pressure situations. His leadership shone brightly during his time serving as acting lieutenant, where he stepped up for the department and did a phenomenal job guiding his crew with grace and expertise. Beyond the emergency calls, Keith's impact has been felt deeply throughout the organizational side of our firehouse. He spent years meticulously managing the books for the Yarmouth Firefighter Relief Association as a treasurer. Wherever there was a need, whether for the union, the department, or the association, Keith was always the first to volunteer his time and energy without hesitation. Keith did a lot of volunteerism. He's still involved. He was just did a lot with the Big Nick's ride and a lot of the other rides in town. Keith has always made himself available and helps in any way he can. So Keith, on behalf of everyone in Yarmouth, and thank you for your 33 years of excellence, brotherhood, and selfless service. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. I'll read his proclamation into the record. The Town of Yarmouth Select Board official citation. Be it known that the Town of Yarmouth hereby recognizes Keith A. Salins on his retirement as a firefighter, EMT, paramedic, effective March 31st, 2026, and for dedicated service to the Town of Yarmouth. And be it further known that the Town of Yarmouth extends its sincere thanks and gratitude for over 33 years of tireless service in the Yarmouth Fire Department. His selfless contributions to the safety and well-being of our community are greatly appreciated. This citation is duly signed by the Chair of the Select Board on this 21st day of July in the year of our Lord 2026.
Thank you.
Does anybody from the board want to say anything about?
No, just, you know, again, we have such a treasure with our public servants and our first responders, so thank you all.
Thank you.
I can tell you that, you know, Keith is one of the reasons why I always say that I'd rather no disrespect to the Cape Cod Hospital, but I've had very few interactions personally with the Yarmouth Fire Department, but one of the ones that I did was a 911 call with my husband many years ago when my son was little, and when I took my son to school at the time, I knew he was in good hands because Keith was with him, and, you know, after the fact, I learned that, you know, Keith had advocated for him at the hospital when I wasn't there yet, and so that's a long relationship that I'm just really, really grateful for, and I thank Keith for all that he does.
Thank you.
Amen.
Thank you.
Very much. Great. All right, next I see Jeff. We have two more.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening, Jeff.
Jeff Colby, Public Works Director. We're here to recognize Kevin Buckland and Dan Hansen, both valuable members of the DPW team. Kevin Buckland retired recently as the Parks and Cemetery Supervisor, but he came to us from the town of Sandwich, which he had a number of years with them. Came over to the town of Yarmouth as the park foreman in 2015. Not quite as long a service as the previous people that we've recognized, but 11 years was still a very important, valuable member of the management team, overseeing up to 30 seasonal people, whether it's the beach gate attendants or seasonal laborers. making things work seamlessly, and so that was very valuable. Something to also know about Kevin, as well as the rest of the park staff, is they alter their schedule so that there is 7-day-a-week coverage with the 6 members of that team. So it's very important for them to be recognized for all their efforts they've put in over the years, even if it's a rather short period compared to some other lengthy careers that we're recognizing tonight. I also brought that experience from other communities with him. He was a tree warden in a previous community, and so that was invaluable to help us. He was never formally the tree warden here in Yarmouth, but he did help us with that experience, always picking the right trees, educating us as to what the right mechanism is to prune trees, and so that was very, very helpful. As I mentioned before, he did retire as the park and cemetery supervisor. He was promoted to that position in February 2022. And it's going to be very difficult shoes to fill for that position, which we do hope to fill very soon. I think we'll have an announcement shortly on filling that important position in this very busy time of year. And the other one I can cover as well, or do you want to do his citation?
I'll read his citation into the record. The Town of Yarmouth Select Board official citation: be it known that the Town of Yarmouth hereby recognizes Kevin J. Buckland on his retirement as Park Supervisor effective June 21st, 2026, and for the dedicated service to the Town of Yarmouth. And be it further known that the Town of Yarmouth extends its sincere thanks and gratitude for 11 years of tireless service in the Department of Public Works. His commitment to fostering a positive, productive work environment within the Parks Department is greatly appreciated. This citation is duly signed by the Chair of the Yarmouth Select Board on this 21st day of July in the year of our Lord, 2026. Thank you.
And the other individual from the DPW we're here to recognize tonight is Dan Hansen. He was a heavy truck driver. He's a great example of somebody that had a career somewhere else. This happened to be a utility company that he had a lengthy career in, and then came to serve the Town of Yarmouth for 10 years. So it's nice to see people on that second career, if you will, giving back to the community. And that's an example of what Dan did. He was hired in June of 2016. He was also a union representative, supporting others that he worked with and getting them the support they needed to address their issues. He was a key snow and ice team member, so that's critical for us, especially when we're short positions. Sometimes they have to step up and do multiple routes within that snow and ice operation, and he was a good example of that. As I mentioned before, he had his utility experience was also invaluable in bringing knowledge to the team while he was here for the 10 years that he was.
Excellent. I will read the citation to the record. The Town of Yarmouth Select Board official citation: be it known that the Town of Yarmouth hereby recognizes Daniel R. Hansen as on his retirement as a heavy truck driver effective June 22nd, 2026. And for his dedicated service to the Town of Yarmouth. And be it further known, the Town of Yarmouth extends its sincere thanks and gratitude for 10 years of tireless service in the Department of Public Works. His commitment to hard work and demonstrating professionalism within the Highway Division is greatly appreciated. This citation is duly signed to the Yarmouth Select Board Chair on this 21st day of July in the year of our Lord, 2026. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to say, I don't know if anybody on the board has anything to say about that, but just for it's really important to us to recognize staff, and a lot of what they do the day in, day out behind the scenes. You know how sometimes the squeaky wheel gets the oil, but it's often a lot of criticism, especially now publicly, unfortunately, for a lot of these people. So they work very, very, very hard. And for the public to also see not only the many years of service that we're able to retain our staff, which is, admirable and wonderful to have such a long career, but how difficult it is for us to continue to retain, or not only retain, but recruit people to fill these voids. The expertise that they gather over so many years is, as has been mentioned, is very invaluable to us. So it's important, when we think about upcoming budgeting and things like that, that we recognize that we need to train a whole new staff fill all of this, all these many, many years of expertise that we've had the benefit of having. So I'm going to give this to you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeff. Okay, so next up on our agenda is a proclamation that we have here for the second annual Evelyn M. Beal Impact Award. Hi, how are you? Wonderful,
My name's Drew Kraus. I'm here as the current chair of the Commission on Disability.
wonderful.
And this is another form of recognition for our community. And I'll explain it with some remarks that we have here. Each year, the Evelyn M. Beal Impact Award recognizes a disability impact leader who advances accessibility, inclusion, and equal opportunity in Yarmouth. The award honors Evelyn Beal's enduring legacy and her lifetime of advocacy, including her pivotal role in reestablishing the Town of Yarmouth Commission on Disability in 2020. This year, we recognize Seafood Sam's Restaurant for its outstanding commitment to accessibility and inclusive hospitality. Every guest enjoys a welcoming dining experience with independence, dignity, and comfort for all. Sam's accessibility features include dedicated wheelchair-accessible parking spaces conveniently located near the entrance, a smooth, wide, accessible ramp leading directly to the front entrance, spacious interior dining areas with open, flat, single-level access throughout, flexible, wheelchair-friendly seating arrangements, fully compliant accessible restroom facilities, counter service operations with attentive and helpful staff available to assist guests as needed. As a public accommodation under Title III of the American Disabilities Act, Seafood Sam's demonstrates a strong commitment to fostering an inclusive hospitality environment. Their example reminds us that when we design spaces with everyone in mind, we create stronger, more connected communities where all people can participate and thrive. So on behalf of the Town of Yarmouth Commission on Disability, it is my honor to present the Evelyn M. Beal Impact Award to Seafood Sam's Restaurant. I believe Mr. Jonathan Curry is here, the general manager of the restaurant.
I have a proclamation I'd like to read for you, sir. I have a proclamation I'd like to read for you. First, I want to say to Mr. Kraus, those were wonderful words. Just a wonderful example of recognizing. You'd think that these things would be no-brainers, right, for a lot of our businesses, but making sure that our disabled are able to feel comfortable in our community is extremely important. So for all the steps that you took, we very much thank you. So the proclamation is, the citizens of the Town of Yarmouth, whereas the Yarmouth Commission on Disabilities Evelyn M. Beal Impact Award recognizes an individual, organization, or business who has demonstrated outstanding compassion, commitment, and leadership in support of Yarmouth residents and visitors living with a disability. And whereas dining out is a fundamental social experience, and establishments that go above and beyond to remove physical, sensory, and digital barriers champion the spirit of true hospitality. And whereas Seafood Sam's, located in South Yarmouth, has distinguished itself as an establishment which has eliminated the physical barriers and traditionally isolate diners with mobility challenges, including wheelchair accessible parking spaces and entrances, thoughtfully spaced dining areas, and inclusive communication tools such as their accessible website. And whereas by embracing accessible hospitality standards, Seafood Sam's not only complies with the essential civil rights standard, but actively fosters a welcoming environment where patrons of all abilities can enjoy a seamless and dignified dining experience. Whereas the dedication shown by ownership, management, and staff of Seafood Sam's serves as a model for the broader business community, illustrating that accessibility is both a moral imperative and a pathway to fostering a deep customer loyalty. And whereas the recognition of such dedication encourages further advocacy and reinforces the importance of disability inclusion as a core community value. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the town of Yarmouth, on this 21st day of July 2026, recognizes and commends Seafood Sam's for the outstanding commitment to accessibility and inclusive excellence. Be it further proclaimed that the citizens of Yarmouth are encouraged to join in acknowledging and appreciating Seafood Sam's and to support the ongoing efforts to create a more inclusive, accessible, and supportive environment for its individuals with disabilities in our community. This recognition in memory of Evelyn M. Beal and her impact as an advocate for people with disabilities in Yarmouth is signed this 21st day of July 2026 by the Town of Yarmouth Select Board, and all of the board members have signed it.
I have nothing really to say. I say thank you so much. Thank you. I've seen it grow from so long, and we appreciate it. Thank you for the recognition. We do appreciate it. I'm gonna come sit with you. All right. That's great.
Okay. Next, we are going to recognize the Yarmouth Historical Society, which I see members are here if they would like to come forward. The Historic Society of Yarmouth, the Yarmouth Historical Commission, and the Community Development Team. So I have multiple.
No cane.
Thank you very much.
Hey, Bob.
I also see Megan here. Megan, would you like to say a few more words first before I read the proclamation? I'm glad that you're all here. I think that it's very important for the public to be able to see these wonderful volunteers before we speak about all that you've done.
Thank you for allowing me to say a few words about this amazing group of people who have managed to put together the 250th anniversary of the Revolutionary War here in Yarmouth. I came in sort of at the tail end of planning, but I was able to jump in and help with the monument dedication as well as the grave markers and ceremony at Ancient Cemetery. These people are incredibly dedicated to this event and all things history related. Working with them has shown me that there is an incredible world of history here in Yarmouth that many people aren't aware of. They were able to gather groups from all over the state, all over New England, to come and participate in this event, and it went off without a hitch, and every aspect was taken care of. They were able to get the press there. Hundreds of people were able to come, and it was beautiful. And I want to thank you for allowing me to be a part of that as well. Thank you.
You're here.
Thank you, Megan. And before I read this proclamation, Megan, that goes for you as well. We were fortunate that you were able to, I feel like, things happen for a reason. You joined our team at just such a beautiful time in our community. Not only, we talked about this at our board before, and you folks weren't here. Just a few weeks before we celebrated the 250th, we celebrated the grand opening of the Parkers River Landing, which is, another wonderful space in Yarmouth that we got to celebrate, and both were they were under Megan's domain, so to speak. So I hope to keep this ball rolling of wonderful things, but it's so great to have you on our team and that you helped. I mean, you were there, you know, we were all there, and we got to see you. You know, you're in the golf cart going here and going there, and you made it happen. It doesn't happen. You know, the behind the scenes that people don't see is really where it comes down to it. And there's so many people on all of these boards and departments that deserve specific recognition. And we weren't able to identify all of them specifically. So in order to not leave anybody out, I think it's, you know, what we tried to do is just recognize the boards themselves, because each individual on the board really truly deserves to be recognized individually for all the work that you did. This was an event that all of us were absolutely amazed with, proud of, happy, and thought was just wonderful. So I'm going to read the official citation. The Town of Yarmouth Select Board official citation. Be it known that the Town of Yarmouth hereby recognizes the Historical Society of Old Yarmouth, the Yarmouth Historical Commission, and the Community Development Department team for exemplary actions in promoting Yarmouth's 250th anniversary of independence on June 20th, 2026. And be it further known that the Town of Yarmouth extends its sincere thanks and gratitude for their comprehensive coordination of tributes to honor Revolutionary War service by Yarmouth citizens. These Legacy of Liberty tributes included, but were not limited to, the unveiling and dedication of the Revolutionary War monument at Thatcher Park, a grave marker dedication, wreath laying ceremony at Ancient Cemetery, as well as many other events that has been pointed out that are not identified here. I know that there was a live historical reenactment,
Living history,
right, that we should have also recognized on here, but I want to make sure that we say that publicly. The public thoroughly enjoyed the period music, the militia exhibition, the colonial arts exhibits. The Town of Yarmouth greatly appreciates what was accomplished to celebrate this important aspect of its heritage and how it all reflected very positively on our community. This citation is approved by the Yarmouth Select Board and duly signed by the chair on the 21st day of July in the year of our Lord 2026. I'm sure there's board members that have other things to say, but it's interesting when they read the history. They read at the event the town meeting minutes from many, many years ago, and it really makes me reflect as what we are doing now. Everything that we do really is shaping the future and will someday be reflected upon in history. So I'm honored to be part of that. And I was honored to be able to say a few words on behalf of the board. The lineup of speakers, the attendance, I mean, I just can't say enough thank you to everybody who was involved in this wonderful event. Mark, do you have anything?
Yeah. In addition to the event, you know, the event itself was quite a celebration, but there's an enormous amount of work that goes into it, as you all know. And I think
they do now.
It certainly all that hard work is very much appreciated, and I think it's a reflection of your care, your love, and dedication to this community, and helping us all understand the richness and the incredible history that we do have here in this community. And so, to each and every one of you who perhaps are involved in this. We know that you're going to continue to stay engaged in this kind of work in the community. And I just want you to know it's very much appreciated, not by the board, but also by everybody in the community. We've heard nothing but great things from our friends, neighbors, and visitors about what a wonderful day and an event that was. And so thank you so much on behalf of everybody in the town of Yarmouth.
We talk about behind the scenes, I mean, the hours and hours of work and planning that went into this event, and the research that you did. I mean, the actual history that we were all able to see, to highlight all of these Revolutionary War patriots was unbelievable. I mean, all of it was just totally unbelievable. It was a real class act, and you guys really showed our town to be really like numero uno. And I just, for the public, there are T-shirts that are available.
There you go.
And in more than one color, perhaps?
They are available in blue and red.
And how would one get them?
One would go to the Banks Hallett House and be able to purchase them there. And I believe, is there a website as well?
HSOY.org for the people at
Historical
home.
Society of Yarmouth.
I just want to make sure they hear you. All right, thank you, Joyce.
I'd just like to say a big thank you. And some of the things that were so special about this are things that I would never have thought of. I'm thinking of the graveyard companions, where we had interpreters pretending to be so well that we thought they were the people from the 18th century, the men who volunteered, some of their family members, and that really made it. That made it hit home, and I think I'll never walk through that cemetery again without remembering those live faces who just made it happen. I'm so impressed that you had pulled with the weather gods. You couldn't have asked for a more beautiful day. Thank you for a great treat for the whole town.
Great, Liz.
And I have to celebrate Steve Flack in particular, because I was one of the reenactors. And I was texting and emailing him up until noon the day of. Are you sure? Now, what church did we attend? And because I was representing Mary Gray. And I really dug into it, and it was such a privilege to be the wife of one of the heroes of Yarmouth in 1775. And thank you for allowing me the privilege and handling it so well. So I felt totally like I was that person.
Yeah, that's wonderful. We have a proclamation for each group here. You know, we talk about the event, but people should know that there is a wonderful memorial that was not just in the event planning, but it has been in the planning for probably a couple of years. So we're fortunate that even after this event is over, that we can probably still go to the website. Is that section still on the website? Because I know there was a lot of really great information there that I learned stuff. I've lived here my whole life, but I'm not a historian. We're fortunate to have Bob Kelly that did so much research for this, and we are the beneficiary of a monument that recognizes those that we lost, and that will be there forever and serve as history. And hopefully everybody will visit it. It's over off of 6A in the Thatcher Park, where the playground is by the gas station at the end of Union Street, if you don't know. But please take the time and go over there and read the names and go onto the website and read all the information. You will be amazed at how our town contributed to the history of this country.
Yep.
It's really remarkable. So, thank you. Did anybody want to say anything? Okay. Thank you all. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, Megan is amazing. And the whole committee. So, thank you. Thank you. We have one for the Historical Society and the Yarmouth Historic Commission. Who wants to accept? The commission, okay. And the Historic Society? Wonderful.
Yay, Bob.
Thank you. Do you want to?
Have a photograph.
Yes. Or maybe can we do it in front of everybody? Yeah. It doesn't, yeah, maybe, can we just have everybody here? I'm sorry to make you move, but they have their
You can block us.
but everybody should be.
We're making history, you see.
Thank you very much. Perfect.
Slide over there.
go,
There we
Bob.
go.
Wonderful.
Remember the wedding portraits? Shoulder to shoulder.
Perfect.
There you go.
Move in a little.
Everybody squeeze in.
Squeeze in. There's a seat here.
One more seat.
We have another seat.
Someone.
Somebody has to sit in that chair or it's going to look weird.
Sit there.
Yeah, otherwise it'll be an awkward family photo. We don't want that.
There you go. That's much better.
Somebody.
Good.
That's wonderful.
Excellent.
Good picture.
Beautiful shot.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Congratulations, all of you. Actually, standing ovation.
Yes.
Standing ovation for this incredible work. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
So much. You're without your cane.
You're a hero.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bob. That's great.
Well done.
Great, thank you. Our next item on the agenda is the appointment confirmation of the Director of Assessing. I don't know if we, if it's appropriate to have Tara and, let me just find my, I need to catch up on my packet
Cue
here.
sheet.
Yep,
I can kick things off for you.
that'd be great. Andy.
A little bit. Again,
And we can get pictures since they happen to be here.
yeah, this is a very photogenic crew here, so we'll have to make sure that we do get pictures. And we're here this evening to request the Select Board to confirm the appointment of Tara Monroe to the position of Director of Assessing. A little bit about our process here is the Director of Assessing is a division head level position in the Department of Finance, and in accordance with the town's charter, this appointment is made by the town administrator. Now, the appointment becomes effective not later than 15 days following which a notice is presented to the Select Board, and the Select Board, by 4/5 of a vote, may decline the appointment. And so we generally bring those in right away and request a confirmation of the appointment so that we can move it forward. And I want to acknowledge our Finance Director, Jennifer Mullen, who's here with us this evening. Also, Sarah O'Reilly, Director of Human Resources, who assisted with our panel. Always with these positions, I like to have a panel that lends their expertise to the process. I also want to acknowledge Andy Machado, who will be our retiring Director of Assessing and will also get, in due time, a lovely proclamation for his outstanding, absolutely outstanding, one of the best assessors in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And I want to thank Andy tremendously. And in thanking him, I do want to acknowledge also for a moment Tara Monroe. You know, she's worked with the town assessing division since 2007, so this is her 20th year here with the town, and she served as our assistant assessor since 2019. She is a Massachusetts accredited assessor, holds her certificate in governmental leadership and management from Suffolk University. Tara is a lifelong Yarmouth resident and also a graduate of the Dennis Yarmouth Regional High School, I might add, which makes this recommendation, I think, special for our community. And I just want to say on a personal level, I'm very enthusiastic about this particular appointment. This is an excellent example of what's possible in our organization and in our community with our succession planning efforts. Tara has worked for many, many years in this department to prepare herself painstakingly for this position. I want to thank Andy Machado, our Director of Assessing, recognized talent, I think, early on in Tara, and has provided not just supervision, but a complete mentorship training program and advice. And Tara has taken that and run with it right to leadership positions in the Massachusetts Assessing Association. And it really, I feel she's become uniquely qualified for this position, represents the town extremely well, and with all of that, I'm just very proud to have appointed her to this position.
Well, I will start by making a motion that we affirm your appointment of Tara Monroe as the Director of Assessing.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. I just want to say, to piggyback what Bob has already said, we strive to have a succession plan here. And sometimes when these retirements happen, we have to go out to a long process. To me, this was a no-brainer. There's probably not been a time, and I don't know how many years that we have seen Andy that you weren't right by his side. And that is directly attributed to Andy making sure that you have the knowledge, and are in place when he retired and it will be a seamless transition. I mean, we're thankful for Andy and all of his time, but I have all the faith in the world. I know that, Andy has, when our previous finance director, he was always adamant that we were the first in the state to get our tax rate set. But you were right there with him every step of the way for everything that I've seen in our board. When he comes, you've been here. So I'm extremely proud to make this appointment, and I'm thankful that you have the desire to continue to work with the organization and have the ability to move into this. And I hope that you will do the same going forward with your staff. So, Liz, do you have anything you want to say?
Yeehaw. That's it.
I'd just like to say a big thank you to Andy for the mentoring, to Tara for her town service. I got to work with Tara informally because she was town staff, an informal member of Energy Committee for years and years. And the things that don't necessarily show in the assessor's job, but that she's incredibly good at, include grant writing and include writing, capital W. I mean, we had a PhD chair, a PhD vice chair, and Tara would improve the prose. It was great. Anyway, well-deserved, Tara. We think very highly of you. I suppose you probably will have less time for renewable energy now, but your own energy will carry the town forward. Thank you.
That was nice.
Well said.
Dorcas.
Tara, I've come to know you since being on this board, and I really admire all the hard work that you've done. Andy's done a great job mentoring you. He, it is true. Every time we've seen Andy, you've been faithfully right by his side, no matter how late at night it was, so we kept you here. And
His face right now is thinking, how many more of these do I have to sit through?
Now they're both blushing.
But it's just been such a pleasure to this point, and now going forward. I can't say enough of how confident I am of the job that you're going to do. Andy's left everything in very good hands. There are a lot of interesting things we could go into about what will be coming up in the coming year and so forth, but we know they're in good hands with you, Tara. Thank you.
Mark?
Thanks. Tara, congratulations, and good luck. And Andy, I hate to see you go. You've done an incredible job for the town of Yarmouth, and we're all very grateful for the work that you have done. And we're going to miss you. We're going to miss you being such a steady presence and an important sort of foundation in our finance team. People don't realize the incredibly important work that an assessor plays in managing a town's finances. And it's often overlooked. It's not always fully appreciated. But the work is incredibly important. And I've always taken great pride when I've been in Boston, whether it's at the State House or up at the Department of Revenue or at conferences and conventions, and how much you are admired by so many state officials, by your peers, your work as a leader in the profession, both statewide and here on Cape Cod, and being a mentor for so many people in this incredibly important field that you're considered a leader in. And so we've been very grateful to have you here. Obviously, you've done a great job in mentorship, but we're losing someone who's really contributed a great deal to the profession and to service here in the town of Yarmouth. And, you know, I guess when we always take positions like this, we want to leave, you know, our job in a better shape than we found it. And I think you've made huge improvements in the department, and you certainly leave having left a very important legacy behind. So I'm very, very grateful. I'm very appreciative, and I know everybody in this town feels the same way. So thank you for everything.
Wonderful. Congratulations.
No, yeah.
I won't be long. Very mindful of the fact that you have a packed agenda, but, and I appreciate all the kind words, all the support over the years, truly. That being said, I wouldn't feel comfortable accepting the appointment if I didn't thank my support team.
Yeah.
You know, I've had a great support team over the years, and really we're only as good as our support team. So thank you. The reason I am here before you right now is because of the support that I received from our town staff over the years. Starting on day one, our former assessor, Matt Zerwick, hired me back in 2007, and I had no idea what assessing was, but I was bartending, and I needed a job with health insurance, and there happened to be a part-time opening, and I said, sure, I have known nothing about assessing, but I can learn, and I know how to work in an office. So I had that going for me, and it was a very last-minute phone call, and I had literally 19 minutes to get here, shower, update my resume, and I made it. Nobody saw me. I was sweating to death in my car. It was probably 62 degrees out, and I had my air conditioning blasting on high, but none of that was known when I walked in the door, and Matt, God bless him, he hired me on the spot. And so I said something right that day, and boy, did that start a career for me. You know, eventually, fast forward, I eventually graduated and you know, was able to transition into a full-time position, and I just continued learning and learning and learning, and I was also very fortunate. We had Ed Centio at the time, finance director, who was also a big advocate of learning. So I need to thank Ed Centio for always not just promoting the learning within assessing, but also in taking me outside of my comfort zone, which is actually how I met Joyce, getting involved with the energy and some of the grant writing and, you know, some of the things that he knew I had a passion for. So, and he was, you know, he was a great supporter. So I want to make sure I recognize Ed Centio for that. Certainly Bob Lawton. I can't say enough about Bob Lawton, but I'm going to do it because you all know Bob Lawton. So Bob Lawton has always been a big supporter of mine over the years. I can't tell you when I was attending Suffolk, going for my certificate in government leadership and management, Bob Lawton I couldn't say enough about me. He was beaming ear to ear because he was so supportive of that particular, the class, the collaboration with the MMA, and Mark Forrest, who actually was sat in as a substitute instructor the day we were giving the biggest presentation of our longest class, and so no pressure there. And I was typing the town of Yarmouth, and I said, "Oh God, of all days for Mark Forrest to show up, what if he doesn't like my typology?" But it all worked out, and so Mark's always been a very big supporter of that program as well, and played an active part in that. Our next Bob Rittenauer, thank you very much again for your kind words, for always being there to support not just me, but to support us. It is I will give you this. It's going to be weird to see me in the beginning after Andy retires because I'm going to be walking down the hall alone. So, but we'll get used to that. You know, we'll still have lunch once in a while. But Bob, really, in all seriousness, just the support over the years, you know, allowing me to also actively participate in other areas that were, you know, maybe outside my comfort zone, but yet that I embraced, you know, 100%. So the opportunities have really just never stopped. It was just up to me to just move along and take advantage of those opportunities. So I could seriously go on and on. I have to stop it there. And
Well, I want to say thank you so much for sharing that story, because those stories in your history, because I think it's important for people to see, as you've just said, that the opportunities are there. And it makes me very proud of our organization that you feel like you've had so much support, and what you know, that 62-degree day. I mean, from that, and now you're leading the department, and it's important for people to see that opportunity is there if you work for it, and you did. You earned it. You very much earned it. You put in so much time, and you've been a lifelong learner since you've been here, and I'm not only proud of that, I'm proud that you had an environment where that was allowed for you.
Yeah.
And I hope other people see that and, you know, think maybe they want to work for the town of Yarmouth, because
the
those
opportunities are
there
here
for them. So
They are. They absolutely are.
thank you for sharing that,
And
Tara.
of course, you're welcome. Thank you for listening to me, frankly.
Well, we'll
Jen,
get to listen to you a whole lot more.
I'm almost done. I'm almost done.
Okay.
I promise. I'm getting there. I
You
promise.
said you were going to be quick.
Well, quick on each person, but there's so many
Nope,
people.
you're fine.
Jennifer Mullen, again, you know, always supporting me. And you know, once again, you know, allowing me to get outside of that comfort zone and work on the budget book. I'm an assessor. Are you sure you want me? Yeah, this is going to be great. I said, okay, then I'd love to do it. You know, and I think it's something about you finance people that, you know, oh, let's get you outside your comfort zone. And it's good. It's great. It feels great. And then, of course, last but not least, and I had to leave Andy for last because I was afraid I was going to start blubbering. And I wanted to make sure I get all my thank yous out for everybody else. But Andy has truly, you've all said, and Mark, I think you coined it best, that, you know, Andy really, he's well recognized through the state, the county as being that mentor and that person, you know, as many of you have mentioned, of not leaving people behind. A lot of leaders in our profession tend to keep information from their people because they're afraid their people will somehow end up smarter than they are. And he's never done that. You're right. I've been allowed to attend and present the classification hearings, you know, and so I didn't write anything formal because I didn't want to go on too long, because I already have. But really, truly, thank you, Andy, always. Now I have to stop because I'm afraid the blubbering's coming. So thank you all. Seriously, I appreciate it.
Wonderful.
It's wonderful. Thank you, Tara. And we look forward to seeing what the future has in store for you and for the town. So we're excited. All right, next we have our 7:20 hearing, and I see Lieutenant Wells here. So if you come forward, I'm going to read the public notice into the record. It's a public notice that was advertised in the Cape Cod Times on July 7th, 2026. The Town of Yarmouth Select Board special entertainment license for the National Night Out, bringing the police and community together. The Town of Yarmouth Select Board, acting as the local licensing authority, has received an application for a special entertainment license from Lieutenant Diana Wells, the Yarmouth Police Department, for a National Night Out, bringing police and the community together. Event at the Parker River Landing Park, 669 Route 28, West Yarmouth, Mass. 02673. This free event is open to the public and will be held on Tuesday, August 4th, 2026, from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. There will be music and entertainment, and food will be served. A hearing will be held on Tuesday, July 21st, 2026 at Yarmouth Town Hall, 1146 Route 28, South Yarmouth. The Select Board meeting begins at 6 p.m. Written comments will be accepted until 4:30 on Friday, July 17th, 2026 in the Select Board office at Town Hall, or submitted electronically to public comment at yarmouth.ma.us, and verbal comments will be accepted at the hearing. With that, the public hearing is open, and I want to recognize Lieutenant Wells and allow her to talk a little bit about the application and what it is that we're trying to achieve here.
Thank
Good
you.
evening.
So
Thank you.
National Night Out is something that's celebrated across the country every year on the first Tuesday of August. And it's an event to bring the community together and strengthen the relationships between the police department and the residents of the town. We have over 30 organizations that will be there at the event. They set up tables, they provide information, various organizations, social service organizations that will provide, education to the public and just be able to interact with our community members and for people to just meet police officers. We usually do a SWAT demonstration, a canine demonstration, and we have a scavenger hunt that we're really looking forward to doing at Parker's River Landing because there's so many great spots there for the
Yes.
kids. So we'll really incorporate, hopefully, all the aspects and all the things that Parker's River Landing has to offer.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you. And I'm just looking at our agenda because it's always usually on a Tuesday that we have a meeting. And this particular Tuesday, we don't have a meeting.
Excellent.
So I always feel
Everyone
bad.
can go. Everyone will
Right,
be,
exactly.
attend. It's from 5
Exactly.
to 8.
All right. So with that, we're opening it up to the public. Amy, is there anything that you would like to say on this application?
Well, there are no public comments that have come in, either online or in the office. We did advertise and we did send abutters notices. Diana sent them by first-class mail to abutters within 200 feet of the properties. Nobody has responded, either for or against, and we're really excited to be part of it.
Yes, and this is yet another wonderful opportunity to showcase our new park. We've had this over the years in several different locations, and it would be great for a lot of the people to come and see this particular event at that space. So is there anybody from the public that would like to speak either for or against this application?
Madam Chair, I move we close the public portion of the hearing.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there anybody on the board who has any questions or comments or would like to make a motion?
I move that we approve the special entertainment license for the Yarmouth Police Department National Night Out event at Parker's River Landing on the first Tuesday of August from 5 to 8, and we waive the fee.
Is there a second to that?
Enthusiastic second.
Okay, any discussion on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you very much for coming and for placing this application on behalf of the town, and we wish you a successful event and hope that everybody attends and gets to meet our police officers. And usually you have trucks and all sorts of equipment out there for the kids, and so it's just wonderful. So everybody, August 4th, 5 to 8 p.m., Parker's River Landing.
We have a chance to go this year.
Yes. All right. Thank you very much. All right. Our next is fortune teller Donna Eli. Is Donna here?
Hi, Donna.
Hi, Donna. How are you? So before I open the hearing, I'm going to ask you what I asked the last fortune teller.
Oh.
Do you know what we're going to do? Okay, I'm going to read the public notice into the record before we begin, ma'am. 1 second. Public notice, this was posted and published at the Cape Cod Times on July 12th, 2026. This is our legal advertisement to open our hearing for the Yarmouth, Town of Yarmouth Select Board, a new fortune teller license. The Yarmouth Select Board, acting as the local licensing authority, has received an application for a fortune teller from Donna Eli, DBA Miss Donna's Mystical Astrology, located at 615 Route 28, West Yarmouth, Mass. 02673. The hearing will be held on Tuesday, July 21st, 2026, at the Yarmouth Town Hall, 1146 Route 28, South Yarmouth. The Select Board meeting begins at 6 p.m. Written comments will be accepted until 4:30 on Friday, July 17th, in the Select Board's office at Town Hall, or could be submitted electronically to public comment at yarmouth.ma.us, and verbal comments will be accepted at the hearing. With that, the hearing is open. We have your application. If you would like to talk to us a little bit about what your request is tonight, that would be wonderful.
It's just a license to expand a little bit on what I already have there. So I already have a retail store in which I do Reiki and teach meditation, have some crystals, candles, things like that. So now I'm just going to be doing readings.
Okay. All right. So Amy, is there anything that you'd like to add on this application?
Sure. So, per state statute, fortune tellers need to reside in the community where they have a license for 12 months consecutively. So we collected information from Ms. Eli that showed that she has that residency requirement done. She was given a Corey check, so we've got information. The police department has accepted her, and we did do the ad. We also did, or Ms. Eli did a butters notice, and I've got the receipts here. She has taken out a business certificate, and she's also gone through the building department to be sure that the place that she is both residing in and having the business run as appropriate. So she's got everything in order, and as far as I know, you can consider her request.
Okay. I see in here that there's a workman's comp affidavit, insurance
Yes.
affidavit. Have you received the actual certificate with us?
So Ms. Eli is a sole proprietor and has no employees.
Correct.
Correct.
We've got the affidavit that she
I
signed.
have the affidavit. Usually it's accompanied by a certificate, though, for that we show that she has coverage. You're
Okay.
saying she doesn't need coverage?
Correct.
Okay. She doesn't need workman's comp coverage.
Correct.
But she has other coverage. And we don't request that? Just workman's comp? That's, okay.
Correct.
All right.
I just have a question,
Yes.
Madam Chair. So is she, are you a sole practitioner?
Yes.
Ah, got it. Okay, thank you.
All right.
It's owned and operated just by me.
Okay, with that, we will see if anybody in the public has any comments. Is there anybody in the public that have any comments or would like to speak either for or against the application?
I move we close the public portion of the hearing.
Second.
Any discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there anybody on the board has any questions or comments they'd like to make?
No? Thank you.
Is there anybody who would like to
Good
make a
luck.
motion?
I move that we approve the fortune teller license for Donna Eli, DBA Ms. Donna's Mystical Astrology, 615 Route 28, West Yarmouth.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Good luck. Thank you very much for coming. Okay, next we have a hearing to transfer the all-alcohol on-premise hotel liquor license from S&H Hotel LLC to the Cape, DBA, the Cape Point, to Cape Aden, Inc., DBA Irish Village. New weekday and Sunday entertainment license at 476 Route 28. With that, I am going to find the public notice and read it into the record. If you would like to come forward while I'm doing that, that would be wonderful. It's a public notice that was published in the Cape Cod Times on July 10th, 2026. You could probably have a seat right up here at the table, both of you, if you'd like. That way you get comfy. Not too comfy. All right. The Town of Yarmouth Select Board, ABCC Transfer License Hearing, Cape Cod Irish Village, 476 Route 28, West Yarmouth. The Yarmouth Select Board, acting as the local licensing authority, has received an application for a transfer of the annual all-alcohol on-premise Hotel liquor license located at 476 Route 28, West Yarmouth, Mass. 02673. The license is being transferred from S&H Hotel Inc. Nope. S&H Hotel Yarmouth LLC, DBA, the Cape Point, to Cape Aden Inc., DBA, the Irish Village, with the new manager will be Thomas McCormick. The applicant is also seeking a weekday and Sunday entertainment license for indoor and outdoor with recorded and live music by a DJ or live band with up to 6 musicians using amplification system appropriate for dinner music. Hours of entertainment will be Monday through Saturday, 12 p.m. to 11 p.m., and Sunday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. The hearing will be held on Tuesday, July 21st, 2026, at the Yarmouth Town Hall, 1146 Route 28, South Yarmouth. The Select Board meeting begins at 6 p.m. Written comments will be accepted until 4:30 on Friday, July 17th, in the Select Board office, or can be submitted electronically to publiccomment@yarmouth.ma.us, and verbal comments will be accepted at the hearing. With that, we're going to open the hearing. If you would like to introduce yourself and talk a little bit about your application and what it is that you're asking.
Sure. Tommy McCormick, been owned the Irish Village since 2014. Held the liquor license before that, held several other liquor licenses. There's one mistake on that. We're not looking to play outdoor music until 11 p.m.
That is so good to hear, Tommy. You have no idea.
Because, I think our outdoor pool's open to 9. Maybe 3 or 4 times a year there's certain groups who have acoustic music during the day till about 5 or 6. But no, our music is all inside where it's not affecting the neighbours.
So for outdoor music, you're willing to limit the time to, what is your request then?
The outdoor pool closes at 9, so usually sometimes some of the guests will have music that they're playing, but like live band wise, maybe once or twice a year we would have a group that specifically wants music for a barbecue during the day. But
Can you give us those hours, like from when to when?
I would say all music should be stopped out there by 9
By
p.m.
9 p.m. Outside, okay.
And that's the only correction to the application. Okay. Did you have anything else you wanted to add, Tommy?
Now, for the indoor music, we did put in up until 12:30 a.m.
Indoors?
Yes.
A.m.
Yeah, from noon to 12:30 a.m.
Okay.
7 days?
Sunday, he's saying.
No, that's 7 days a week.
Sorry.
Indoors.
Indoors.
11:30 to 7?
No, noon to 12:30 a.m.
Noon to 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the bar restaurant is located right on the 28th side.
So indoors is something that, we have more flexibility with. That's more about you and your guests and keeping that sound inside, not to go outside. It's the outdoor that we...
No, that's my mistake. I must have put that in without even noticing.
All right. And with that, we have received some public comment on this. We had 2 abutter notices, 2 abutter letters, I should say. I have one here in my packet, and then the other one at my place. I'm missing one.
The other 2 should be at the end of your packet, Tracy.
I have Nicholas Brady's. I know there was another one. I saw it, but I just don't, it's not. Oh, I got it. It's just, they're in 2 separate places. So I'm gonna, because this is a public hearing, I'm going to read our public comment, or at least surmise most of it. But you have a neighbor at 2 Rig Lane that is deeply concerned about the impact on the proposal, ability to have peaceful use and enjoy their home. On previous occasion during the weekends of July 20th, when the outdoor music was playing at the property, the volume was loud. They were unable to enjoy their own backyard or listen to music of their own. outside. The sound carried well beyond the property and substantially interfered with their use of their own home. They recognize the businesses contribute to the community. We're not opposed to the Irish Village operating successfully. However, we believe that the outdoor amplified entertainment, particularly into the late evening hours, is incompatible with surrounding residential neighborhoods and would significantly diminish our quality of life. We are also concerned about the regularly scheduled outdoor amplified entertainment could negatively affect the desirable value of nearby residential properties. Our home is one of our largest investments, and we worry about excessive noise and frequent outdoor entertainment could make this less attractive for future buyers. For these reasons, we respectfully request that the board deny the request for outdoor amplified entertainment. We appreciate the board's consideration of the rights of nearby homeowners to the peaceful enjoyment of our property. Thank you. And then we have another one. By Nick Brady. I am a neighbor who lives directly behind the Irish Village pool on Coachman Lane. I strongly protest their live entertainment until 11 p.m. daily. This is simply unreasonable, as there's a whole neighborhood of houses right behind them, and having loud music until late in the evening is simply not feasible. People have to go to sleep and get up for work. We're not on vacation. We live here year-round. Previously with the last hotel, it was established that pool and music would be done by 9 p.m., and that is a more reasonable time. The previous hotel owners, and already one time so far with this current hotel owner, have had guests in the pool well past midnight, being extremely loud and disruptive while we're trying to sleep. If you allow music until 11 p.m., that's going to invite more people to stay out and congregate in the area approaching midnight and later. This is simply unfair to me and other neighbors that we live in a close proximity. And then we have another one that we received today from Joe Glynn that supports your application, and very fond memories of the location as a child. In the house, a few feet across from Route 28, I know my neighbors in the surrounding neighborhood still. I enthusiastically endorse the new Irish Village. I believe it's an asset to the community and will be run in the same efficient and respect of the neighbors that the ownership and management team is doing with all of the properties. I'm confident that they are aware of the rules and regulations and laws, and all the workers in management are up to date and aware of the responsibilities incumbent upon them to have a liquor license. This team has done a lot for the community, including many of you called one of the best, if not the best event on Cape Cod, or Yarmouth, or Cape Cod for that matter. The new Irish Village position at the end of the Cape Cod St. Patrick's Day could not be more appropriate for the new Irish Village. I think that it will attract more visitors, revenue, and families to enjoy that day, and will benefit the entire community. I wish them luck, the luck of the Irish, in the new endeavor, and I respectfully ask you to endorse and approve the application after your usual qualifications and review process is satisfied, of course. Keep up the great work. All right, so those are our public comments. I think to the extent of Nicholas Brady, I think you've already addressed that. I know in our packet, as additional information, we have had an application there before, and there's a memo in our packet that there have been 2 public comments from abutters that Joe's came in after today. The property who are concerned about granting outdoor entertainment since they have been affected by loud music on the property in the past, and here's some factors to consider. According to the licensing authority, certification in 2019, when the Best Western Cape Aden applied for a new liquor license, alcohol service conditions were weekdays and Saturdays 8 a.m. to 1 a.m., Sundays 10 to 1 a.m., outdoor services to cease at 9, Monday through Saturday, and 8 p.m. on Sundays. The property was most recently granted a weekday and Sunday entertainment license at the Select Board on February 2nd, 2022, which was not renewed since. Excerpts from the minutes of that is the motion was to approve the weekday and Sunday license for inside, allowing amplified music during the hours of 1 p.m. to 10 p.m., 7 days per week. For outside, allowing a one-piece acoustical music only with no amplification, no steel drums, during the hours of 1 p.m. to 9 p.m., 6 days a week, and 1 to 8 on Sundays, subject to the issuance of a certificate of inspection from the Health Department, Building, Fire, and other applicable authority. The applicant is seeking outdoor entertainment in the designated areas attached in the floor plan Monday through Saturday, 12 p.m. to 11 p.m., outdoors and indoors, 7 a.m. to 11 p.m., which we've already pretty much addressed. This indicates the outdoor entertainment will be 1 or 2 musicians, and the indoor will be up to 6 with amplification. Okay, so that's kind of our history on that parcel after taking a lot of public comment the last time from the neighbors. And as you know, we try to do the best job we can with making sure our businesses are successful and also making sure that our residents can live in peace.
Yeah, and again, they were putting in for music previously, 7 days a week. There's maybe 2 or 3 groups a year who have a barbecue during the day, and that would be the only time we would have any type of live music outside.
Okay, so your live music, when you talk about live music, I'm happy with the amendment to 9 p.m. I don't know if you heard the previous one was allowed till 9 p.m. except for on Sundays. It was allowed till 8 p.m. And it was also limited in terms of the amount, of amplification and number of, are you comfortable with those conditions?
I'm very comfortable with
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Wonderful. Because that seemed, it seemed to be a good balance. Again, inside, the only people you're going to disrupt are your own clients, and that's pretty much your problem, which is great for us. But the rest of it, we just have to worry about, like I said, the balance between, you having an amenity for your guests and our residents being able to have some peace as well. So that's great. So if we made the same basic stipulations on the outside, you're okay?
Aye, yep.
Excellent. And for the public, I know you've said it, Tommy ran the Irish Village before. We have a long history. He has a long history not only of that, but his community service. And so we're very grateful. I'm happy to see your name back in Yarmouth again.
Nope, we're happy to be back.
So, but with that, I'm going to go to the public. Is there anybody here who would like to speak either for or against this application? Yes, sir. Please come to the microphone. Good evening.
Evening. I'd like to request that they use a bagpipe 1 day a week.
Outside or inside?
Inside, right?
Inside or outside.
Okay.
I have an office in my house, and I do quite a bit of studying.
Can you identify yourself for the record? I'm sorry for the public.
Gary Armstrong.
Thank you, Mr. Armstrong.
And I have difficulty concentrating on a book or anything I'm reading when there's a lot of jiving activity and noise outside. I've mentioned something the last time. I'm not opposed to the music outside if it's one instrument like a guitar or a violin or anything like that. The music has not been too raunchy for me to accept so far, but I just don't want it loud late.
Understood.
I think
Now-
everybody else in the neighborhood feels the same way.
Now, did you hear the restrictions that were put on the previous license that we
Yes,
just
and
discussed?
I go along with that.
Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate you coming tonight.
Just want the bagpipe 1 day a week.
Is there anybody else here from the public that would like to address the board? Yes, sir. Good evening. Can you identify yourself?
Nick Brady. Well, it
Oh,
sounds
thank
like
you.
the issue is to be resolved. Just wanted to make it aware for everyone. There's basically no difference between a concert in my backyard and a concert at this hotel. It's literally just a fence separating us. So I've already listened to one of their concerts. It was pretty good during the daytime, 5 o'clock-ish. So no problem with it. I was just concerned about late music because 3 hotel owners in a row had a problem with every one of them. They have people out there very late, past midnight. I have to call constantly, repeatedly. So
Oh.
I just don't want this to be a continuing issue with, hopefully they're the hotel owners for a long period of time. But I've gone through I've lived at this house for 9 years. I've gone through like 3 hotel owners and 10 managers, and every year they all say, "Oh, we'll do this and that and everything." And
Well, I can tell you from historically, Tommy is always, every time I walked into the Irish Village where it was before, he was always on site and very, very responsive. So if you have any, are you, first of all, you've heard what we've discussed in
yeah,
terms of.
everything sounds great. I'm honestly
Okay.
If I had known, if they had put the correct thing in, I probably wouldn't have even. come
Right,
to
no,
the meeting,
that's-
but
I'm
figured
glad you
I
did.
waited here the whole meeting, so I might as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, you don't want to miss the good stuff.
Yeah, but no,
Why would you?
They sound like they're gonna have a lot of fun. It's gonna be a good experience of.
So if you have any issues, please don't hesitate to reach out to Tom, and if he does not rectify them, you have a course of action. You call the police. If he is in violation, then the license comes back before us. So that just
Yeah,
so.
I don't know what the delay is. Like last year, the previous owner before they bought it, I actually had an issue, and I emailed the select board, and a whole year went by and no response. And then I called them again and said, "Oh, we're so sorry, we must have lost it." And I sent them another, still no response. Like nothing ever came from this. Is like 2 years past now.
Sorry.
So I'm a little concerned about that. It doesn't seem like I get
Well,
any.
if you call, I believe the police are the ones with
Well,
the
no, it was,
with the
it was
noise
like in
complaint.
response to a violation of that like previous stuff that we had agreed to, because I was at that meeting where we agreed to the 9 p.m., 8 p.m., all that stuff. And it was like several times I like documented, I've video evidence, and so I sent an email. I just didn't ever heard anything back from the select board. It's been
I'm sorry about that,
2 years,
but
so.
so the course of action would be to talk to Mr. McCormick,
Mhm.
and if it's not rectified, then call the police, because the police are the ones who would document it and bring it to Amy to determine whether or not it's a violation of the license. So
I
just,
actually I did have to call the police a couple times, and one of the times they actually just gave up. They couldn't resolve the issue. There was a large like tractor trailer truck, and it was running for like 6-7 hours all throughout the night. It was very loud. My other neighbors are also.
that's not a licensing issue, but
Yeah, well, it was just like tremendous. Again, like it's like having.
I'm not
a truck in your
minimizing it. I'm
backyard.
just saying that wouldn't be part of
Yeah,
of a music.
no, but it was like it was like a noise complaint kind of thing. So, but no, I get it. But I think these the new owners are gonna be fine. There shouldn't be any issues, hopefully. So.
Well, thank you, Mr. Brady, for your comments and for coming here tonight for your.
Thank you.
For your letter. We do get it. Again, we do try to do our best of balancing. It's hard when you have residential and commercial abutting each other.
Now, just on the indoor license, can you rectify that from
Yeah, absolutely.
noon to 12:30, please?
It's noon to 12:30 a.m. is what you're
Indoor.
requesting.
Indoor.
And you can have as many pieces in there as you want. 6 is whatever you requested. The outdoor, I think we're going to try to use this language that we had before, not for the indoor, but for the outdoor, is allowing one-piece acoustical music with no amplification, no steered drums from 1 p.m. to 9 p.m., 6 days a week, and 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Sundays. Okay. Good.
Madam Chair, for the
Yes.
record, the steel drums were part of the specific application from the previous applicant. So just-
2022.
So we can.
I don't know if you need to have that in the description.
We don't use a lot of steel drums in Irish music.
We need to put something about the bagpipes.
Okay.
Once a week.
All right. Is there anybody else from the public who would like to address the board? Okay, seeing nobody, will take a motion
Madam
to close
Chair,
the public.
I move we close the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there anybody on the board who has any questions or comments? Mark?
Yeah, Madam Chair, first of all, I too, I'm thrilled to see the Irish Village come back to Yarmouth. This is your home. This is where you should be. We're glad that you're back.
Yep, thank you.
I fully support the application as it relates to the indoor. I'm assuming the indoor entertainment and alcohol, it's going to be in that front section by the highway. Is that
Right on 28, the only thing beside it there is Dunkin' Donuts.
right? Yeah, that to me it should be fine. The only question I think is going to be on the outdoor entertainment and making sure that we properly manage that and limit that to the acoustic music and the timeframes involved.
So, and again, I will speak with Nicholas after. I'm assuming that they must have had a lot of complaints about people playing their own music, the guests.
Mm-hmm. Poolside. Mm-hmm.
You know, some guests will bring a jukebox or whatever they call them there.
Boombox.
A boombox. You know, so
I believe, I think there's probably some truth to that.
Yeah.
I just having been there myself on previous occasions, there have been times where it hasn't been really that well managed in the back, and that it wouldn't surprise me if that was a problem. But that, as you know, that neighborhood's very close.
No, it borders on. We'll have a look at to see what we can put up to, prevent. We
That would
want to
be
be
great.
good neighbors. That's what we always aim for.
And you may have to close the pool for them to, I mean, whatever it takes, you're gonna, you know what I mean, you'll figure it out. I have no doubt. Whatever you have to do, but. Mark, you have anything else?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Dorcas?
I think they're in good hands having the Irish Village back.
Mr. McCormick, thank you for being here and back on 28. I have one personal question. What is the future of the Indian restaurant?
So the Indian restaurant, they left when we purchased, or well, when we went into the building. So I think, I'm not sure where they relocated to.
Mashpee, Nick tells us.
Ah, okay.
Pardon?
Well, thank you. We trust you to take good care of this site and take good care of the neighbors.
No, thank you.
Liz?
I'm just glad we could please Joe Glynn.
It's so rare.
Make sure that's in the minutes.
Yeah.
Should we reconsider?
All right, is there anybody who
Congrats.
wants to make a motion?
I move that we approve the transfer of the annual all alcohol on premises hotel liquor license from S&H Hotel Yarmouth LLC DBA The Cape Point to Cape Aden Incorporated DBA The Irish Village, and provide new weekday and Sunday entertainment licenses, which will be restricted to, as per the conversation, outdoor Monday through Saturday from 1 to 9, no amplification, and on Sunday from 1 to 8, and then indoors 12 to 12:30 a.m.
As with the music as requested?
As requested.
Okay. And to also approve the Thomas McCormick as manager with Raymond Flynn and Holly
Very good, and
Hanrahan
to
as assistant
include
managers.
the new
Yes.
manager, Thomas McCormick.
Second.
Okay, is there anything else on the motion? Any discussion? All those, oh, sir, did you want to say anything?
No.
He's
We got
smart.
the abutters notification.
Yes, those need to be turned in. I can see them there. So turn them in before you leave.
Things.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We wish you the best of luck.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Cue the bagpipes.
Cue the bagpipes here.
Cue the bagpipes quietly. All right, wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, next we have a update on a MVP grant, a 2-year. Hi, Amanda. Come on down. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome back.
Good evening, Amanda Lima. I'm the town engineer, and I'm here tonight with Brittany Hothnagel from Woods Hole Group. Okay. And we're here tonight to go over the 2-year grant that we had. We gave an update last year, so while the presentation has a lot of slides, we're kind of just put them all together so you'd have like a comprehensive packet, but we'll be going pretty briefly over the first half and then focusing on what we've completed in year 2. And then we're looking for potentially 2 votes. The first vote is in regards to our approach for our submission for the next round of grants for the MVP. And then also I drafted up a letter to DOT because based on our findings that we've had in the last year, we got a pretty good understanding in regards to how we would like some resiliency factors added into their project along Route 28. So I'll kick this off to Brittany. Bob, really quick before we start, will we be able, we have like a link inside embedded in the PowerPoint. Will we be able to click on that?
You sure will.
Oh, boy.
And the bagpipes will start. Is that what you? No.
Well, good evening, everyone. Good to see you all. My name is Brittany Hofnagel, Climate Resiliency Specialist with Woods Hole Group. And as Amanda said, just recapping the last 2 years of this grant project, which was focused on the Route 28 corridor. As we know, it's a low-lying area, densely populated, and the most vulnerable side of the town of Yarmouth. So trying to figure out how we can address access and emergency response within this low-lying neighborhood, and also providing the residents and business owners that live here their own ability to act as stewards and take responsibility on what they can do to help mitigate their vulnerabilities to sea level rise and storm surge.
Yeah, point that. If you pointed at me, it works a lot better.
Okay. So I just want to emphasize that this was a collaboration between the town of Yarmouth, Amanda, and the 2 consultants, Woods Hole Group and Beta, and as well as many of you who participated in the Coastal Resiliency Fair. So the purpose of today is, again, to have a wrap-up of the fiscal year 25-26 MVP grant, kind of talk about the grant work that's been completed. We'll emphasize or highlight the community engagement that we've undertaken, and Amanda will talk about the next steps. So as part of this 2-year grant, again, funded by MVP, Municipal Vulnerability Preparedness Program, was 2 years. Year 1 really focused on that emergency routing and egress analysis. So understanding how important access to the residents who are vulnerable during natural hazards, storms, and in the future, and how we can maintain access to those residents. Year 2 is really focusing on the residents and the business owners. So we were able to do coastal vulnerability assessments for business owners and residents. And we hosted that public community resilience event. So overall, this grant request was about $178,000 over the last 2 years. So the work completed was really that technical analysis, again, that road network and emergency egress assessment, and then those neighborhood scale vulnerability assessments. As you recall, 2019, we did town-wide vulnerability assessment that really focused on town-owned buildings. This is really bringing it down to the residents and the business owner infrastructure. So the area of interest, as I said, is that area below Route 28, which is the main road that goes east to west. The study area highlighted in yellow. And again, understanding the impacts to emergency response and transportation throughout this low-lying road network. And then using a tool through GIS software to evaluate how emergency response times might be impacted with road flooding. So important parameters that went into that modeling is these areas of interest. So these are areas like South Shore Drive and Wolfen Road, Bayview and Windmill. So these are all areas that are kind of along the coastline that if you can't access those points through the road network because of flooding, can have impacts for emergency response. So just understanding where the fire departments are, the hospitals are, and those more popular or densely populated areas.
Brittany, can I just ask one quick question? Why isn't Great Island shown on that?
So Great Island is a private neighborhood. I don't know if you want to, I think it was just chosen that the roads leading into that neighborhood are not under the town's purview for strategies. I don't know if you want to elaborate.
No, I think that summarizes it. Yeah, so the point is as far.
All these neighborhoods kind of be private? I'm just curious because that's not one of the worst access for.
Right. I mean, you'll see when we go through the analysis is that, you know, that area does, I mean, it does have some high points along Great Island, but the causeway does flood out currently. And I don't know at this time that there would be like town funds that would improve that causeway, or if it would be relying on the residents of the island. I know that,
I'm just familiar with that.
Madam Chair, can I add to your concern? I too agree with the chair that it's important to maintain public access to that area. If there's a fire, there's an emergency, we don't want our ambulances or our fire equipment cut off from being able to deal with a public service emergency. It's also a part of the town where we may need to get equipment out there in order to deal with an incident out at sea. So, you know, to just sort of blow off that area is certainly a concern of mine as well, in addition to the chairs.
Necessarily blown off, I think, because we had met with the chief to talk about this project and the scope of it. I know that they have like a water level reader that's right on the roadway that the fire department has access to, so they know how much water is on the roadway if it is flooded out. So I know there's been a lot of communication when we were talking with the chief about that. So it's not necessarily, it's more or less the goal of this was, you know, to really determine like emergency egress. Like if you're, as you'll see with as Brittany continues on with the modeling, that a lot of the roads like in South Yarmouth are very vulnerable, but it might not be intuitive. Like you might be like, oh, let me just go up Run Pond Road, but we now know that it will flood, and maybe you shouldn't go Run Pond Road and you should go up, you know, Pine Grove. So, and we should invest, you know, in investing in Pine Grove to make it more resilient, so that people have an emergency egress.
I didn't want to go off topic, but I don't want it to be lost that is also in my mind of something that we, you know, should certainly continue to look at.
Yeah, I certainly recognize your concern. I also will say that we've been involved with the homeowners in this area to do a site-specific local vulnerability assessment. So I know that the homeowners in this neighborhood are self-funding their own evaluation and also considering taking projects further to maintain access. So I think under our scope, it was more of like town-owned roads and emergency egress, but also acknowledging that the homeowners in this area are also self-funding their own assessment.
Again, Madam Chair, on this point, I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but this is an important area of the community where we need to have access. Right. I saw the fire chief in the back seeking to be recognized to speak to this point. So could we hear from him?
Hi there. Sure, I just wanted to say that we have had a lot of conversations with the Great Island Association specific to the causeway. They've done a lot of environmental impact studies. We do, like Amanda mentioned, they do have a sensor that we have access to and dispatch. Whenever we get a call out there, they're able to access to see the water level on the causeway to see if the road is accessible or not. During the last storm in February, we were in communication with them to make sure whether they were on island or not, so we needed to evacuate people or know that they're out there or not. But they're working very closely with the Woods Hole Group, actually, on some environmental studies on what they're going to do with that causeway. There is some prediction of some flooding within the next 25 years as far as water level rise and that causeway being affected. So we've been working with them, and they know it's coming as well.
Madam Chair, can I have some follow-up while the chief is here? So you're aware that there's a problem in terms of access, and this is an area that could be flooded. And just so that we're on clear, you're looking at making sure you get support from the board to at least identify the publicly owned properties that might be eligible for public assistance, grant monies under the MVP program and other programs. I get that distinction, but I just don't want it to get lost that somehow that's an area of the community that is subject to flooding. And the pictures that we saw of West Yarmouth in the photograph, that's clearly, we're talking about water levels that are even much higher and much greater, and we have much more serious access problems there. My hope is that the town can find a way to work with the residents of that area. If they're going to fund it, that's terrific. But I do think there's an interest that we have in assuring public safety access to that area, both police and fire. I'd hate to see a fire or another emergency happen there and there's no plan to deal with it. And I think it's certainly in our interest to monitor and communicate and engage with them, which is going on. It's terrific. But I'd hate to think that after going through this exercise, we're going to have a segment of the community that's just totally inaccessible in the case of a flood, and that some of the efforts that are being made are not at least supported. Because I think they're talking about raising a significant amount of money, and my hope is that they're successful in doing what they're doing. But it is an area where clearly public safety ought to be access ought to be sustained, and if we can help them do it, that would be great. So I just want to be clear that we do have a problem there.
All right. And through the development of this model, working with Amanda and understanding the storm scenarios that she wanted to evaluate, we've come to the conclusion for this purpose of the study is looking at out years 2030 and looking at two different storm scenarios. A 20% storm, which is something that might come more frequently, but it's more of a less intense storm. So showing that near-term risk for a more common storm, and then a 5% storm. So a storm that's much larger, but less common to occur. And then looking out into more of a longer-term risk profile at that 2050 time horizon. So in our model, these are the storm scenarios. I don't want to get into details of what these storm scenarios mean, but just understanding that we're looking at near-term and long-term resiliency and the different types of storms we might expect.
Can I, before you move off that slide, so the near term, the less common, more intense storm actually has a lower flood exceedance probability?
Can you repeat your, sorry.
The arrows.
Yes.
The near-term 20%, near-term more common storm has a 20% coastal flood exceedance probability.
Yep.
But the bigger storm has only a 5% coastal flood exceedance probability.
Yes, so that just describes your annual chance of flooding. So anything that has a 100%, 50% is a more common storm. That every year you have a 50% chance or 100% storm.
Okay.
So that's a storm you might see every year.
All right, so we have a 20% chance to see the more common storms, and the big intense is only 5%.
Yeah,
I'll
it's
get
like
it.
a Hurricane Sandy
I thought it was a
1,000-year storm. That's a 0.1% chance. So you have a 0.1% chance every year to see a storm like Sandy.
Got it.
Yeah. So based on, and quickly going to go through these, but just based on the models, all the parameters that we included in that model, we can understand what we're calling the service areas for the Buck Island Fire Department. So anything in that really bright green is where you can potentially access within 5 minutes. And then once you get to those darker brown colors, that's because a longer, that's your service area for 22 minutes.
If I could just add on to that. Yeah. Those are not accurate what the fire department or police are getting to. It's more if you were abiding by speed limits, and it just kind of, for us, it just gives us being able to compare apples to apples. So they're not, when you see these numbers, don't be alarmed. I know we had discussed it with the chief previously. They're just for us to be able to compare one road to another, proximity and speed. And it includes traffic signals, stop signs, and those. So that's why they're all in there.
And it's just Buck Island.
And this is Buck Island to the entire town.
Okay.
So then obviously we have a second, fire.
Yeah, so you would not expect the Buck Island Fire Department to go to the east side of the town because you have the other fire department. But it's just the tool that we were using. You can calculate your service area, or where's the extent that an emergency vehicle can access within 5 minutes or 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So this is just, again, computer software based on all the stop signs and parameters. When you think about service area and how that might be impacted during those different storm scenarios, and you can start to see where there's flooding along these roads can start to make those service areas smaller. So this does show that access to Great Island is restricted because of flooding along along the causeway and the low-lying areas. So you start to see in that earlier storm set, that near-term smaller storm, you're starting to see a reduction in the service area. And when you increase the storm intensity or look out into the future, you can continue to see how those storm scenarios or the service areas get smaller and smaller. And you start to see along Route 28, because of flooding along Route 28, you're starting to see disruption of service. So this is just informing us that, you know, there are going to be disruptions to service once we start seeing flooding from these more larger and more frequent coastal storms. So then we can also evaluate the road network based on certain routes. So I did highlight the green areas, which are those more general areas along the neighborhoods, and how the access to the hospital or from the fire department, and how those routes might get disrupted because of those different storm scenarios. So I'm just going to walk quickly through these examples, but basically we reran a variety of routes, and you can see in the original green color would be the optimized route going through Silver Leaf Lane, up through Route 28 over to the hospital. And then when we start to see flooding events in areas predicted in those brown circles, you can start to see how emergency egress has to go up and around up to Buck Island Road to get to the hospital, which can add time that maybe someone doesn't have during storm events. So the purpose of these analyses is really to help us identify which roads are critical for access in these neighborhoods and which roads can maybe possibly serve as alternatives for routing around flooded roads. This is just another example for South Yarmouth, where the green line is the original route, adding about 5 minutes to travel time from the Old Main Fire Department. And once you start thinking about that larger storm in 2030 or out to 2050, because of multiple areas of projected flooding along the route, it starts to become impassable. And so in this scenario, this is where it's really critical. Is if we can't use those major common roads for travel, are there other more cost-effective strategies to identify other egress routes or other roads like Pine Grove, like Amanda said, or what are types of projects or strategies can we start to look at to help alleviate some of these problems of the low-lying roads? So all in all, a lot of those results are going to be on the website, which I'll talk about in a few. And I don't want to get into the details of all of the network analyst results, but we basically came up with an evaluation matrix that basically highlights which road segments cause the most disruptions of service. So we had our major routes on the left-hand side, and then the time that it increases travel time from the storm scenarios. And then we can also identify the particular road areas that get flooded that cause the disruption of those routes. And what we learned from this assessment is that Route 28, which is the main corridor, is disrupting the most routes. So it's really highlighting, that Route 28 is really critical for travel and could be ideal situation for these more cost-effective strategies, raising the roads a little bit, if possible, to get them out of the flood zone. So that was kind of year one. And then year two, we're bringing it up down to the neighborhood vulnerability assessment. So building upon that town-wide vulnerability assessment, including residents and business owners, and then able to provide site-specific and neighborhood-scale strategies. So we were able to include all of the parcels. We took all the parcels within the study area, and we were able to identify which ones were commercial, which ones were multi-use, industrial, residential, forests, open land, and inventory all of the structures that are within those parcels. So we know that a lot of the businesses are along the Route 28 corridor, as well as some of those beachfront resorts along the South Yarmouth coastline. What we really needed for this project is critical elevations of these structures. So is the house on the ground? Is it elevated on stilts? Is it 3 steps high? Is it 10 steps high? And so we really needed to understand in real life what the critical threshold of each of these structures were so that we could have an accurate reading of what their vulnerabilities are. So what we're calling first floor elevations is if water gets above the elevation of the first floor elevation, that would deem that structure as a failure or failing or getting flooded or having flooding risks. So Amanda, you can elaborate, but she had her interns from the summer of 2025 drive around the entire study area. It was a lot of work, a lot of effort to coordinate. And they had a virtual map called Field Maps on like a tablet. And they were able to put up dots on every parcel that they inventoried, take a picture and answer a few questions to really get that site-specific building information. So that provided opportunities for her interns to learn some of this Esri software, understand some of the information that is critical for these type of evaluations, and help provide data to get this project done. So again, this created a database of all of the structures within the study area so that we could identify the critical elevation.
I think just to add on to that, like this piece was really important because it compared like the homes to the roadway elevations. So, you know, we looked at a lot with emergency egress, but it will help us in the future grant be able to start prioritizing based on who's invested into their home and has made their home more resilient. And, you know, now that the town would be able to come in and implement a project. So it kind of just gives a, you know, just a comparative state.
So once we were able to get those critical elevations, just like we did for the Low Lying Roads project through the Cape Cod Commission, we were able to conduct resident and business owner vulnerability assessments. So using, again, the Massachusetts Coast Flood Risk Model and being able to compare that data to the house, the resident's critical elevation. So now we can understand resident and business owners' risks to flooding along with the roads. So this is for 2030, and you can see that we've inventoried about 2,073 structures, and the graph, the table, and the chart will show you the number of structures for each of those annual exceedance probability data sets. So during any given year, every year, there's about 32 structures that are likely to get flooded in a year. Whereas if a big storm like Sandy comes through in 2030, we might see 696 structures have a flooding risk.
Okay.
So that's 2030, and we can do the same for 2050 and see how the probability of flooding chance increases. So all of this data will be on the website, but it just gives you an idea of the amount of structures within the study area that are vulnerable to each of the storm conditions. And then 2070. So I've been talking about this website. So a lot of this work has been uploaded onto an Experience Builder, which is a website that will eventually be linked to Amanda's coastal resiliency page on the Department of DPW's website. But Bob, if you can click on that link, and then I can come over and, should I just bring this mic with me? What? Okay.
It's loading, so that's
And then
good.
do we have to change the setting? To be able
We
to-
can't reach this page. It's trying to diagnose the problem.
I'm looking at the photograph there, and I'm trying to understand where on Route 28 that is. It doesn't look familiar.
Not 28.
28.
All right.
That looks
But it
like
says
that.
Route 28 corridor.
It's just a picture, yeah.
Where is that?
Looks like it's down on.
The red jacket, isn't it?
Yeah.
Down the end there?
Like Hockanum Road, maybe?
Seaview.
While we're working on this, I have a question for Amanda. for future MVP funding, what are the typical projects that the state is likely to underwrite?
I know when we received this grant, I attended that ceremony, and their focus was a lot on the freshwater culverts, which we are very limited to, as you're familiar with,
Yes.
on Cape Cod. And because we had accepted it in the city of Leominster, and as you're aware of the flooding that they had a few years ago, and it seemed like that was the focus. But if you look at the projects that have been awarded from MVP, it is a large range from, hiring interns to do inspections for different stormwater facilities. It's very scattered. Brittany and I had put together the 2-year grant because we thought it was really unique, and it was a lot of the feedback that we had gotten from the town assessment was like, well, we don't care about the town facilities like the sailing, we care about our house, And so I think we were able to scope this to get at least collecting the data, because that's the important piece. Like we had conversations with conservation and building, and no one really had a comprehensive kind of an analysis of like who's has some resiliency and who doesn't. And I know there was concerns before about insurances and that, but this was a very it was in the field, so it wasn't a tabletop exercise, but it at least just gives us an idea, like a snapshot of
Yeah, but given what we know about Yarmouth today, given the work that you and Brittany have done, what are the kinds of projects that are likely to come out of this exercise that we're going to need construction or implementation funds on?
Looking at the crystal ball for our
Right.
slides a little further.
Should have kept the fortune teller
we've
here.
We've identified
We
about
should have kept
10
her here for
different,
this.
11 different roads to consider moving forward in the future. Some of them may be as a consideration for raising the road, such as Prince Road.
Right.
But others, like where Bayview hits Windmill, because we had met with the Hyannis Park Association, and that might be more of like a sand dune and, doing something with the beach to protect it versus like raising the road. That will be what we're going to be looking for the next round, would be taking that list of 11 that will be on our third to last slide. And then,
We're getting ahead of ourselves.
and then, and then figuring those out, like some,
Right.
narrowing them down to 3 of what are the, highest priorities. Because that's been the hard part, is that, we get phone calls. We hear from other departments, and is trying to, prioritize one over the other. I know
Right.
that MVP might not be the future partner once you get into construction, so we'll have to explore that. But now that, as you know, that they combined all the grants together,
Exactly.
it should make it, now that we've done all this legwork ahead of it, and and we're cohesively agreeing with where the priorities are to move forward.
Yeah.
They should be a pretty favorable application.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I hope to see come out of this planning work, and I think it's terrific that you're doing it, and we've got the help from Brittany and her team, is we probably identify the areas where shoreline protection is something that we're going to have to pay more attention to. Right, Brittany's nodding her head. Because what'll happen is that if we don't protect those dunes, if we don't protect those coastal resources, then what happens is we lose the ability to protect access in roads, and the impact on storm damage becomes really significant. One of the things I've been fascinated with is in the town of Provincetown, we've seen a number of homes get elevated, but now that the homes are elevated, the storms come through, they pass through the property and are now impacting other homes.
Further in.
So what's happening is
Walking in.
the homeowner's doing what they're being asked to do to elevate the home, but it may protect the home, but on the other hand, it's having a huge impact on the neighborhood. So they're saving the home, but losing the neighborhood.
The street and everything.
Right. So I think this is sort of the perspective that I'm taking as I look at this, because in Provincetown, this has become very controversial. And it's become, the town officials have had really to spend a lot of time on it. And that's one of the things that concerns me. That's why when I get back to Great Island, if a group of homeowners want to put beach nourishment, along the beach, I'm as just a resident of the town, if they want to spend their own money and stabilize that beach, there's a public benefit to that, and that is it stabilizes the road, it provides safe access in the event of an emergency, and there's a broader public benefit to that.
We're right-hand them. It's a buffer. The whole
Exactly.
island is a buffer for
Exactly.
West Yarmouth.
Exactly. And the other thing is that
What happened to Chatham?
yeah, and again, I hope that the planning work that we do also informs us as to what kind of offshore structures may be helpful. Because some communities in other coastal areas are actually looking at offshore reefs to knock down the very devastating impact of waves and wave energy. And, you know, we've had, in fact, years ago, our former natural resources director, Mo Johnson, used to talk about this and the importance of having structures and reefs offshore. They provide valuable habitat, but they also reduce wave energy that could have a real adverse impact. So, you know, my hope is as we go along and continue this planning that, you know, we're able to look at the big picture as much as we can. I think it's important. I applaud the fact that we're trying to identify how best to position Yarmouth to pursue state resources to deal with local problems. I think that's terrific because we're in a very, very challenging financial time right now. So I applaud you and our consultants for doing that work.
You can applaud the Senate, too, our Massachusetts Senate, with the Mass Ready Act. It's going to be very beneficial with the money coming to the Municipal Vulnerability Preparedness Program. So
Yeah,
the state
thinking about
is...
the state.
You're not
So
crazy about it?
Well, I am crazy crazy about the state giving out money to the municipalities. It just
Yeah.
doesn't happen as often as it should.
Well, it's a step in the right direction here.
Well, the problem that we're going to have with the Mass Ready Act, I'm glad you brought this up, is the strings that they're going to attach to the money. All right, already the Mass Municipal Association is on the warpath because the strings that are being attached require us as a municipality to weaken our environmental regulations and our environmental protections. And that's going to be a problem for us in pursuing those funds. Are we going to be asked to do things that hurt us in other areas?
We'll see.
As far as, I guess there's two things the last time you were here that we discussed, which was the flooding that happens in the captains. Right, that's obviously not part of this plan, but I think somehow has to be
Addressed,
looked at.
yeah.
Yeah, we started inventorying. We have, a lot of the systems are from the 80s and 90s. So we've been using our camera. We started with the largest system. So we're making progress on that to figure out what is going on with the existing infrastructure.
Excellent.
And so that one kind of goes under the purview of the drainage funds for our CIP. But yeah, we're making incremental. We got to do an evaluation, and we're trying to do that in-house to save money. So we've been having our intern and our civil engineer has been taking the lead on that.
That's
That's wonderful. That's great progress. So we need that information. And then, you know, kind of back to the Great Island thing, it's kind of like, you know, it's a private organization or private road, so to speak. A lot of our roads are private, and I'd be interested, I know when we went through, you know, when we go through, there's always the argument about plowing private roads, managing private roads. And I'm wondering, in your plan, are all these roads that we're looking at that are having, that have, could be potentially used, have we done an inventory of how much of them are actually public roads and how many of them are private roads?
So the ones we proposed are public, but like one that comes to mind that we'll see is Pockanocket. That one is a very vulnerable road, and we did not include that as part of it because it is that area.
And that's the one, that's that road right there, right?
I don't know where you got that.
Isn't that what you?
I think that is.
I think that's what you're showing us.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's getting late.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the other one that you had was, I think, along Shore Drive in West Yarmouth.
Yeah.
So are we ready?
Yeah. So I just wanted to show you all of this information that we've been talking about is on the website. So we have a nice welcome page. We have a and then so there's buttons at the top, which will give you more information about the Massachusetts Coast Flood Risk Model, but also provides some of these interactive data viewers that you can use your mouse to click on and off the data. It might not load because of internet capabilities, but working on my phone right here. But this page itself talks about the low-lying roads project from Cape Cod Commission, and also the townwide vulnerability assessment.
And how do you get to this?
I don't know how we'll provide access.
Oh,
but,
okay, it's to be determined.
Yeah,
Okay.
it will probably be linked to the DPW website.
Or a projects page.
Or projects page, yeah. And then, so year one talks about the emergency egress analysis, learning from the community, selecting the analysis parameters and the results. So again, a lot of project information. We might have a picture from the fire department here somewhere. Yeah, so our meetings with.
I'm so happy there.
the chief.
Yeah.
But this will show all the results of that work. Then we have a website for the neighborhood and building vulnerabilities, so the methods and the results. So again, interactive data viewers where you can interact with whether buildings are residential or businesses, and then all of the results of that work. And then next steps, which we haven't talked about yet, is what are we going to do about all of this work? Is kind of hopefully is the adaptation planning. So we've, which we haven't talked about, but we created this little picture book that kind of talks about the 11, must be pushing the wrong button. It zooms into the most vulnerable areas, so we can talk about Bayview Street, and this is an area where we could consider, a dune that might help prevent, block this flood pathway. Zoom into another area, Park Ave, which is a low-lying road that might flood a lot of these buildings here. So this is a nice Prince Road. It's a mixture of homes that might become isolated if a road floods, and/or identifying more cost-effective project strategies. So providing narrative to a lot of these projects, but just a way for you guys to the residents to learn more about the risks. And Silverleaf Lane isn't vulnerable to tidal flooding, but could serve as an alternative route for egress to maintain access throughout neighborhoods. So there's just a little bit more information for these 11 top projects.
Wow, very
good.
good.
Yeah, so really cool. We're still making edits to it, but it's in a good shape with a lot of information covering over the last 2 years.
Don't forget to change the town.
Oh, the seal.
Yes.
Seal.
We're
Yes,
still
thank
using
you.
okay. One of them, yeah. Yep. All right, Bob, if you want to get back to the PowerPoint, we just have a couple more slides.
Sure.
Now, Amanda, Brittany had mentioned something about the low-lying roads initiative. Have we found any way to put that to use here in Yarmouth? I know they've done some work here.
Yeah.
Is it helpful, and does it bring money?
Well, they did the first round, and we've kind of taken it from there to kind of really adapt it to what, I think the.
So you've been able to build on that and use that?
Yeah, and then we went back to it while we were going through this to make sure nothing was kind of like left behind. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Ooh, that one's tough.
Okay, so then I just want to quickly go over, we had big, this past year, and the end of the first year, this engagement. So we had some tabling events at the local libraries, but we also created these property report cards for the business owners. So without having to go and talk to every single business, we were able to put together these one-page info sheets that provides a snapshot of the business owner's property and parcel. This is not telling them that they're required to do anything. This is not telling them that they're breaking some regulation or rule. This is really just informational. Like, if you're interested, here's the data that the state uses, and here is the risk to your property in 20, 30, 50, 70. So
May I ask if it affects insurance?
no, there is no binding legal binding to this document at all. It's more of just whether or not a business owner wants to take their own initiative to kind of think about elevating electrical equipment off the ground. Maybe they're in a place where maybe elevating on stilts makes sense. Not sure, but this is purely just informational. And we're just calling them report cards to just give them information at their hands.
Just to add to
I would
this,
like that.
Brittany might hit me, but as you know, like it's very conservative. That's why we kind of focused. I mean, we're almost at 2030 now, and so we've talked about how the modeling will probably be adjusted. So we are as you had heard about the roads, like we were focusing more on what the modeling results showed for 2030 and 2050. So like you look at 2070 and it shows the DPW building getting water, and if the DPW building's getting water, then we're in very poor shape. So they are, just Brittany said, they were just, more or less for information, just to kind of take different considerations in mind.
And when you say conservative, you mean sort of the opposite of conservative. It's more worst case scenario.
Yeah. The Massachusetts Coast Flood Risk in itself was really designed for, state highways, these big item infrastructures, not necessarily designed for residents or business owners. It's more of these worst case scenario situations that will affect a larger regional. So yes, it's likely. So really you could think of 2030 really being a crosswalk over to 2050, and then 2050 could be a crosswalk to 2070, and then 2070 could be a crosswalk over to 2100. So in itself, the MCFRM is a little bit more conservative and worst case scenario, just because of the purpose of why that model was developed.
Good. Okay. Takes the onus off of it.
And then I think the last thing I wanted to touch base on was the Coastal Resiliency Fair. So the MVP did cover the cost of the tent. So that was when we were developing this scope.
Great.
We did want to kind of provide an opportunity for residents, business owners, community organizations to come to a central location and learn about the work that Yarmouth is doing, learn about things that they could do, be their own stewards for their own risk mitigation. And so that was really the Resiliency Fair. And then the planning of that Resiliency Fair coincided with the grand opening of Parker's River. So it was a really great event. You all were there, saw many of you. So it was a really great event that really highlighted the work that Yarmouth is doing in such a great location. MVP had a small piece of it, but we had a nice shaded tent, albeit a little windy, as an opportunity to host an opening ceremony. So
Just to add on to that, we had about almost 20 tables underneath the tent with different state agencies, local agencies, our own commissions, our consultants, who all volunteered their time to be there. Much of the feedback that I received was that they've never had such a great public engagement. I mean, I know that a lot of people were driven there for the opening, but it was amazing to see how many people before the ceremony had started that were really exploring all the tables and seeing all the tools that we have, because sometimes that engagement is hard to get people to go.
I thought what you did was excellent. It really was. The Resiliency Fair was a terrific idea, and if the state helped funding it, that's terrific, and providing a tent, that's even better, because it sort of touched all the right bases. What I enjoyed about the Resiliency Fair was the engagement of the residents. They were just as engaged in the Parker's River Landing and the park and the boardwalk and so forth, but they were also very interested in the other things that were going on. And so, and it was nice also to have the various partners that had a table have a chance to interact with one another. So the state was there, I mean, it was obviously great. And our Cape Cod Conservation District had a nice presence there as well. So I got to hear firsthand from a lot of residents on some of the projects that we're working on here. So that was a wonderful idea. And I quite frankly think if you were to do it again, you'd probably get a good turnout. If you did that with maybe some other festival or some other event or some other thing to celebrate, Yeah, I think it would be a very nice touch. People enjoyed it, so I congratulate you on all of your work and energy in pulling it together, because it was well worth it. So thank you.
And then I just wanted to summarize, that was a lot of information, but just over the last 2 years, the major project outcomes of this work is really identifying the critical roads that are important for emergency access and egress, and identified less vulnerable roads that represent more cost-effective resiliency projects and provide additional egress routes. So this is a focused list of kind of those vulnerable roads and neighborhoods. So it's a kind of a build upon the low-lying roads project, a build upon of the town-wide vulnerability assessment, but adding on this emergency access is able to give us this really well-rounded focus list, potentially for future projects. And then again, providing this opportunity for residents and business owners to take their own steps to be more resilient. So on that note, I'm going to hand it over to Amanda.
Before you leave that slide, no, I'm glad that you're putting on the culverts as well.
Right.
Because people need to be educated on the importance of doing these culvert improvements. I'm not sure they understand how critical a role they can play in terms of helping address how we manage our floodwaters and stormwater.
Right.
That Park Ave culvert, I've seen photographs from the residents on the amount of water that comes into those culverts. It's unbelievable. And clearly, I very much appreciate, for a variety of reasons, Amanda, you and the work that DPW are doing to sort of prioritize that and find ways to help get funding for that. I think that's great. And I think it's good to educate as part of the ongoing education and public engagement to explain to people the importance of these culverts. I just wish we could convince the state that these tidal culverts are critical pieces of infrastructure here on the Cape.
And and hope I don't speak too much on this one, but the Park Ave, I think, would align really well with the bog restoration in that same area, right? So I think that was the idea, is knowing that that work is happening,
right,
but also can we address the road at the same time that the culvert is addressed?
Good
in concert
plan.
with that bog program.
Yeah.
And also Crowell Pond and at Smuggler's Beach, that culvert Friends of Bass River is exploring. So we've talked about the efforts that we've done to date here, because as well as, there's goals, but when you add more goals, you can get more funding that have different, lens of interest for achieving their goals. So I think that kind of, summarizes all of that. So with that being said, we were hoping to explore, receiving the, board's support on submitting the next round for the ECO one-stop application. And again, that's a collaboration of a bunch of different grant opportunities, including MVP, including the CZM resiliency grant. And but we wanted to take those 11 roads. Maybe we could amend it to include, Great Island. We wouldn't probably select it to go further because the interest, but at least maybe looking at collaborating maybe some of the work the private work they've done, and reflecting that they should be included.
Well, I would like to move that as a board we support the efforts of our DPW to continue to seek state and federal funds for or an application for MVP dollars in the next round of funding this winter, 2027.
And to authorize me to sign this letter here?
Yes.
I can talk about that
second one.
That's the next one.
Okay.
If you'd like to combine them, I can talk on that as well.
No.
Let's go. You want 2 votes? We can work on 2. We can do
votes.
2.
It's up to you.
So, and to support submitting an application for a prioritization plan for focused roadway projects. Is that the motion you'd like? Okay.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor?
Any other
Aye.
grants? Aye.
And then, Madam Chair, I'd like to make another motion, and that is I move that we, as a select board, support the efforts of the town administration and the DPW to work with Mass DOT to include resiliency strategies in the proposed work along Route 28 between the Barnstable Town Line and the Parkers River Bridge, and to authorize the chair to sign a letter or authorize the chair to execute a letter on behalf of the board in support of these efforts.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
And I could add that at the meetings, it has been brought up that the work that they're about to do needs to be very conscious of the resiliency aspect, and they were receptive during the Metropolitan Planning Organization meetings.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much for your presentation and your time.
Thank you for such a thorough project.
Yeah, web page is going to be amazing.
It's wonderful. Next on the agenda, we have a donation for a training building from Last Call Foundation. I see the chief is here. I know there was a letter here, and I misplaced it now. Here it is.
That's yours, yeah.
Wonderful. Good evening.
Oh, she's got hers.
I'm well. How are you?
Throw it away. You want it?
No, I'm good, thanks.
So for once, I'm here to talk about money we're getting versus asking for money. So,
You like that?
Real quick, obviously my name is Enrique Arasque. I'm the fire chief. I'm here with Deputy Chief Chris McMahon and Jay Burns from the Last Call Foundation. Just as a quick introduction, obviously we know we went through a promotional process last year, and Deputy McMahon was selected as the Deputy Fire Chief of Training. And one of his first successful moves here has been to get us a grant through the Last Call Foundation, which is a significant grant for $31,000 that's going to help us get across the finish line with the training building that we've been working on since 2018. So we're very close with a lot of work. We've been working with the Barnstable County Commissioners. We've been working really closely to get it done. A lot of hurdles along the way, but we're happy to be within sight of the finish line anyway. And one of the big pieces was this grant work that Deputy McMahon did. So I'll let him speak first, and then I'll introduce Jason Burns.
I think everybody's probably familiar with the project. If you're not, it's a regional training building. It was the original grant was applied for and awarded in 2018 through the town of Provincetown and the county. It's been a collaborative effort, and unfortunately, everything showed up around the time COVID showed up, and it threw a horrible monkey wrench into everything. So we've kind of been behind the 8 ball the entire time because we're working on 2018 dollars, and if I had 2018 dollars today, I'd be happy. It's the county's been great with putting money towards it. Whenever there's money, they get an earmark, they can do something. We've been pushing it through. We've had good contractors. We've had the ability to get this thing, it's erected, it's close. The final hurdle is getting actual gas-fired props, clean, safe props that we can train with. And there was hopes to have that done by July, and then there were some issues, and like everything, the price went up. So the county was kind enough to put some money towards it. They dug deep and found some extra money, but I knew that I was going to be responsible for the project no matter what, so I figured I'd take a little ownership and started reaching out to a couple of places, and the Last Call Foundation was one of them. I originally talked with Kathy Crosby Bell, who's a big part of the foundation, and she was really excited about the project and put me in touch with Lieutenant Burns here, and we basically were able to get a little buffer and have a little extra room, some wiggle room to when these little hiccups show up, we're able to actually push through them. So that's where we stand right now. The foundation's fantastic, I'm sure. Lieutenant Burns will tell you all about it.
Love to hear about it. Yes.
So full disclosure, I've known Jason for almost 20 years. He's a Fall River firefighter, and through my previous association through the union, but I was a union president in my previous employment. So we've known each other for a long time, and I consider him a friend. Hopefully he still thinks that way about me.
Seems like he does.
Got on the other side.
Yeah. So just real quick, I wrote some words down. He's a lifelong resident of Fall River. He's been in the firefighting community since 2006, I believe. He's a steadfast advocate for firefighter safety. He works tirelessly for working conditions for firefighters and all their initiatives. He's the district vice president for the PFFM for our area, and that's how I knew him for a long time. He's an advocate for safety measures, equipment, training, education, cancer prevention, I know he does a lot with behavioral health and wellness, and he's done a lot to help firefighters in this area and across the country. And he works really, really hard. One of his biggest contributions has been his initiative focusing on eliminating PFAS in firefighter gear. I know he speaks all over the country on that initiative, and he does a fantastic job for firefighters everywhere. And his other commitment has been through the Last Call Foundation, where he serves as the executive director. That foundation honors firefighter Michael Kennedy, who was a Boston firefighter who was killed in the line of duty in 2014. And he works very closely with them and distributes grant funding across the country and beyond. So I'd just like to introduce Lieutenant Jason Burns.
Thank you. Very kind of you. Really just wanted to say thank you for allowing me to be here before you and discuss a little bit of what we're doing at Last Call Foundation. It really is an honor and a privilege. I don't always have this opportunity. So this is a new one for me, but I wanted to say thank you. I want to thank your leadership team here on the fire department. They have been fantastic to work with. That makes it very helpful and seamless when we're doing these grants. My background as a firefighter, I am still a firefighter in Fall River. That helps me understand, the needs that is being communicated through these grant applications. To be honest with you, in Fall River, there are a lot of times that we don't have the appropriate equipment, we don't have appropriate staffing, we don't have a lot of different things that help keep firefighters safe, right? And so if we're talking about Last Call Foundation, what our goals are, back in 2014, March 26th of 2014, we lost firefighter Michael Kennedy and Lieutenant Eddie Walsh in the Back Bay fire. Very tragic, and it can be traced back to some equipment. Things that were out of our control at that time. The weather, the wind, there was some gale force winds at the time, pushing the fire through the building, through open doors, but they had fire hose that was burned through. And, Kathy Crosby Bell is our president, that's Michael's mother. She just said, we got to do something better. And she wanted to create a foundation that memorialized Michael and remembered him and his contributions and, wanted to really make sure that other firefighters get to go home to their families after their shift in any way that they can. And so it started with helping develop a fire hose that is extremely high heat resistant. I'd encourage you to look at that, Chief. We do grants to try to put that fire hose, so a regular fire hose can compromise in somewhere in 60 to 90 seconds, and when it's exposed to heat, i.e., the fire that your firefighter is going to. And this high heat version can hold up to high heat, sometimes upwards in the range of 60 to 90 minutes. It's unbelievable, and it's an equipment change, and everybody said it couldn't be done. And Kathy and the Last Call Foundation, I was not there at the time, I'm not taking credit for it, really buckled down and said, hey, we're going to find a way. And they talked with people in NASA, they talked to fire industry leaders all over the place, and they found a way. And that hose is available to this day. And that is the type of stuff that Last Call Foundation is focused on, whether it's finding a way to prevent cancer, whether it's getting equipment in the hands of firefighters who need it, i.e. that fire hose, whether it's these burn props with the propane burn, that training. Not only is a true benefit to your community because your firefighters are better prepared to respond to those types of events, but those firefighters are more likely to be able to successfully mitigate, and that means they're going to be safer. That means they get to go home to their families. That is my goal. Enrique talked a little bit of what I do left and right, and I will tell you the core of that, the common thread that goes through all of it is I want firefighters to get home to their families at the end of their tour, at the end of their shift protecting and serving your community. That is my goal. It's a singular focus, and I thought this was a great opportunity. I was thrilled when your leadership team asked for some support here. It is exactly what we do, and I'm proud to be here, and I'm incredibly thankful that you guys are accepting the grant, and I look forward to coming back and seeing it come to fruition and seeing how it works out for the team down here. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your words and for the organization. I don't think any of us will forget that Back Bay fire. And it's, when people like his mom create these foundations that make his memory go on, the number of lives that they impact and serve, in his memory is really absolutely remarkable. So I just want to say thank you on behalf of the residents for the funding, and I guess I'm always interested in learning. I know we just had our goals thing, and I'm kicking myself in the butt because I had made a list of things, and that the PFAS didn't get on it. But that's one of the things that we would love to work towards faster in replacing all of our uniforms. I'm just wondering. I'm not trying to ask for more money, but I mean,
That's what we do.
If you have it, but how a lot of especially I know Fall River's history. We've been so fortunate here that our fire department, no doubt, Fall River is wonderful. Our form of government is a little bit different than Fall River. Having an open town meeting, you have a city council. Our population has historically always supported our fire department. We're so fortunate about that. But like every community, we're living within, financial constraints and trying to keep the property taxes down, and at the same time fold in all of these advances that are out there. And I'm just wondering, I know last call, if you've seen how other communities have been able to successfully do that faster, I'd love to hear it, because it's something that, we struggle with. Hearing about this new hose is amazing, and obviously I think that will be probably on our list of things that we want to do in the upcoming year. We're still trying to get the non-PFAS outfits changed over faster. We have a plan, but in my mind it should happen today, and it's all about trying to prioritize it. And but anyway, I think what you do is absolutely wonderful, and I'm very grateful that you recognize Jarmuth. I'm grateful that you you both are reached out and were able to get this grant. I think Mark and I were there when you did the first training, and the building is wonderful, and it's not just a resource for our firefighters, which obviously we want our firefighters to be as trained as possible. As you say, we want them to go home every day, and that really is the ultimate goal. But other departments are able to use this facility as well and train, which is something that we had to work through. It took time. It's a training facility that so many people will benefit from, and we have that in Yarmouth with police and fire. So we're really a hub of first responders that have these facilities that we're just fortunate about. So I just want to say thank you. Thank your foundation for recognizing that these communities need assistance, and for looking favorably upon our application. Mark?
Thanks, Madam Chair. And I, too, am very appreciative of your generosity and the work of the foundation. If anybody's watching and they want to contribute to the foundation, they can just go online and Google the Last Call Foundation.
www.lastcallfoundation.org. We got a nice little donate button up top, but they can send a check in. They can. There's many ways they can donate, and to be honest with you, that is how we get to send these grants out. They are donations. We do a bulk of our fundraising through the Boston Marathon. We get some bibs up there. But so if you know any of our runners, we've had some Cape firefighter runners that have been on our team. But if you don't, there's always a way to donate online.
I appreciate that. I also appreciate the fact that you're here on the Cape, and your very kind words about our, fire chief and our leadership team in the fire department, because we're very proud of the work that they do, and they've done a great job in terms of helping bring this training facility to fruition. As you heard, it's been a journey, and the journey, I think, quite frankly, it's in the right place with the right people. Yarmouth has developed, I think, an identity now as a place where you can train, our police officers and our firefighters. And I think that's, quite frankly, that's a role that we play that I think we embrace fully. And it's great to have you and your foundation as a partner in that effort. And we hope that we can continue to work together and find ways we can help better prepare our firefighters and help equip them with the resources that they need. It's unfortunate that we can't get the kind of government dollars that we need to do that, and it's unfortunate that we have to rely on this foundation and others and their generosity to do what needs to be done. But thank God you're there. Thank God you're there doing what you're doing, and we're very appreciative of your support. We really are. So thank you.
Thank you.
When do you get to sleep?
I'm a terrible sleeper, so even when I lay down, my mind is racing, and I'm thinking of an email, a phone call, or something. And what wasn't mentioned, which also takes up a little bit of my time. I have 5 daughters.
Wow. Oh, that's
So
okay.
So
that's,
so I'm active. Clearly I don't sleep.
No,
I'm blessed. It keeps me moving.
Thank you so much.
girls will do that.
It's too bad that it had something so wonderful had to come out of such a tragedy.
Correct.
But there are a lot of people that will be forever grateful for what you are doing. And
Thank you. It's truly a privilege to be able to be in this position and to be able to help, communities, and in this case, friends, people that I have not only personal relationships but professional relationships for a long time, and understanding I'm not just somebody who approved a grant that was really well written, right? I'm someone who does the job and understands what that need is and connect it to the importance. And I'm overjoyed, and I'm not making that up, hearing from a board that understands that, listen, things get tough in government, but we're going to do everything possible to outfit this team with what they need to get the job done. That is everything to us.
they're giving us the ultimate sacrifice. Every day you come to work and there's a possibility you might not go home. And still you come to work. We thank you so much. I mean, this community feels so safe thanks to our public safety personnel, both the fire department and our police department. Thank you.
Joyce?
Thank you for the generosity, and thank you for helping our leadership team train new generations of firefighters. Much appreciated.
You're welcome.
I'm so pleased, and this is a very tender conversation because everybody's really said it all, and I'll just say, yeah, we can't ever begin to thank the fire department in a little bit in particular, because also all of the we're learning about the repercussions of fighting fires that we don't see until years later. And so even getting home after your shift, yeah, but even living a good long life is something that we need to protect. So yeah, I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad we're as committed as we are here in Yarmouth. So
I appreciate it. I do appreciate your commitment to our public safety team here, and the chief knows how to get in touch with me if you have any further questions. I am a talker. If you wanted to talk PFAS, I would be here until you got sick of me talking. But however you want to do it, I'll keep.
Next time, bring the girls.
Right, exactly.
There you go.
Well, I'd like to make the motion that we accept the donation of $31,000 with great thanks from the Last Call Foundation.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. And thank you so much for writing the grant and recognizing the need.
Good work, you guys.
Yeah, great efforts from everybody, and many, many people will benefit from this in the future. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming down.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome to the Cape.
Thank you.
It's too bad it's raining.
Tough weather.
I know.
The flooding conversation.
Well,
Do you need a map before you go? You want to take
you go.
I'm going to take a look at the slideshow and see if I have
alternate routes.
we
may
can
be
give you
necessary.
we can map it out for you.
Thank you.
We can map it out how you get back, too, not just to leave.
Sorry.
Prioritize.
Yes, all right. So our next agenda item is the signage at Chasebrook Park. I see Megan here. Good evening again.
Good evening. Thanks for having me. We had a discussion with Amanda Lima and Jeff Colby following your prior select board meeting talking about the sign at Sandy Pond. They alerted me to the conversation, knowing that the Chasebrook Park sign is still in the design phase, and wanted to ensure that this sign that we're currently designing stays consistent with the select board's desires. And coming out of that conversation, they had given me some pointers on what to do to change the sign in order to be more in line with what your dreams are for signs in town. And I agree, consistency in signs is very important. So the original sign design is in your packet, and unfortunately we were hoping to have a revised proof, but it is not here. We don't have the final revised proof showing what we are going to hopefully implement, but I can describe the sign, and I'd love your feedback on whether or not we're going in the right direction. So the original design was for two signs, one at the east entrance and one at the west entrance. And the one at the east entrance was going to be perpendicular to the road, so you can read it going both ways, and either side of the sign would be just as you have in your packet, the same on either side. And the west entrance to the park was going to have the sign closer to the entrance to the parking lot, and it was going to be parallel to the road. So as you're driving by, you wouldn't necessarily see that sign, but as you pulled into the parking lot, you would. And the front of that sign would be the same as the east entrance sign. And the back of that sign was going to recognize the funding sources, CPA, and other grant donors. And then it was going to have the list of the original donors for the original Chasebrook Park, as well as list the in memoriam names that were on the back of the original sign. Knowing that there was discussion about prior donors and listing names on signs, we have proposed to change the orientation of that sign to be similar to the other entrance, where they're both visible from either side, either direction. And would love your thoughts on the original donors, and if there's a desire to put that on a separate plaque within the park. We have thought about that. There are 14 benches that are programmed into this park where plaques could go onto benches, or we could do something separate, like a boulder of some sort with a plaque inset with names on it of the original donors, as well as those that have the in memorial names along them. There are quite a few names. I don't know if you remember what that sign looks like.
Yeah, we have a picture of it here.
There are quite a few names. I do want to say the sign as it was proposed was, those names were very small, very hard to read. So changing it from having those names along the back of the sign to perhaps 2 or 3 different areas within the park might be more beneficial, easier to read. We do want to recognize the donors and the grant recipients. We have the interpretive sign that's going, there's several interpretive signs or educational display signs where we could put the funding sources on those signs too.
Okay, wonderful.
So the new sign is going to look very similar to Parker's River Landing, same color, same font, same shape, same posts. They aren't going to be pilings, but they're going to be natural wood with the slants on them. So there will be similarities in the signs.
Excellent. I think that this board is discussed several times about having some continuity. And, you know, after hearing Christine's comments, I'm happy that that we're considering some other form of recognition of those people that were originally on that sign. Whether it's on, you know, you're now having them both this way on 28. I was thinking originally when you had it that way, maybe it would go on the back. So at least I don't particularly have a personally a specific way, but I am just happy to hear that you're working to incorporate it somehow. But as far as Route 28 and the park signage, I would wholeheartedly support it to be consistent with the other two parks that we've just approved. That's me. Liz?
Yeah, I think it's, of course, it does need to be someplace where people who are walking in the park can see it, because it's obviously not going to be read from the road.
Right.
So there's no point in having it facing the road in any way. Something we might also consider is, and I don't know how it fits into the plan, but we did talk at some point about QR codes being placed at locations. And so wherever this is, I think the QR code for a little bit of understanding about why this was created might be along with those who have donated. So maybe this contribution signage should also have a QR code that would be for more information about the donations.
We did consider that. Our IT department does not particularly care for QR codes. They're easy to mask and bring someone to a malicious website. So we've been shying away from those. Perhaps in the future that will change, but we do have a very nice website for Chasebrook Park where we could list all of the in recognition of.
Okay, and I guess if they don't want to do the QR code, then you have to have the web page.
Or correct.
Which
Or Christine could be right there and explain it to them. Full-time job.
But yeah, so I'm essentially I'm on the same page with Tracy, and some kind of link to further information as you go. You're obviously all over that already, so I don't need to say anything more.
Joyce?
I love this sign, the full design. Obviously, there'd have to be an updated shield covering that one. But this seems like a perfect thing for me for, as Christine mentioned, internal in the park. And as Liz mentioned, you know, something that walkers would see. I think my preference would be to have it on a very large rock. Or something freestanding, not just a bench, because just think, if Chasebrook Park is very popular, there are going to be seats that are taken on those benches, and then no one will ever know.
Right, right.
But I'm delighted to think that this will be in the mix, because it sounds like such a wonderful combination of different kinds of efforts. And that's why I'd love to see it not split up, but all as it is, and this is a lovely design as it is.
Together.
I support what's been said so far. I mean, I too feel that not having it on the sign makes the most sense, but to have, like, for instance, when I see a rock in a park, I'm always looking to see, you know, that generally has something to do with donations that have been made or memoriams that have been made. And I think that people would be more likely to go up to it and read it than they would to try to find a couple of benches throughout the park, especially given the number of people. Interesting to see my best friend is on here. I didn't realize it. I got to talk to her about that. But that would be my idea, too.
Right. Mark?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm glad we're going in the direction that we are. I think your plan makes sense. I believe somehow preserving the story and naming the donors is very, very important, and finding an appropriate way to do that. What I have seen in other areas that I think has been very useful are some of the interpretive signs that Bob Kelly and the other historical society and historical commission folks have worked on in Yarmouth. There's one in particular at the Indian Memorial Sacred Site for the in the middle of what was once an Indian reservation. There's interpretive signage there that gives some background in terms of the history of the site. And it was well done, well put together. The mounting was very, very sturdy. And I think something similar to like that should be considered, because I think what we want to make sure is that people understand, not just and remember the organizations and the individuals involved, but it might help inspire other people to be involved in protecting other parks and doing other things that involve conservation in the town of Yarmouth, that a group of people can come together and actually find a way to save a place that's special. And I think the more we're able to sort of tell those kinds of stories at the sites that we're protecting, helps inspire other people to get involved in maybe protecting a place that's special for them. So anything that we can do to acknowledge folks, tell the story, and leave people with a sense that they can do conservation too, and they can get involved. And by mentioning the organizations that have been involved, I think there's a value in that, because it might inspire folks to maybe participate or make a contribution or do something in their own way to help sort of further the cause. So I think that's kind of how I approach this. It's almost like something that we really have to do, because I think what we want to be able to do is encourage and perpetuate and somehow inspire others to be just as engaged as the people who help make this park possible, you know?
Great, thank you.
Yeah, the one thing I think of when I think of this is, I don't know what year this was, but we've redone the park a couple of times, I think, even since this sign. So the nice part about having it take you somewhere else is we can add to it, we can, update it, because there's probably some updated, I'm not sure, but I know this last time was basically funded through the town, so, I think adding the historical piece, information about not just the people, but, the whole, Christine wrote a great letter about the history of it. So, I mean, all that information can be put somewhere if it can be through some type of link. I know, I'm surprised about the QR code thing. That's unfortunate, but because it's an easy way, right, to get them right to a website that has all the information. But in any event, I think we have a pretty much a consensus of the board. I'm not sure what it is that you need from us. You need us to vote on the actual new sign, because we can make a vote that I would like to make a vote or make a motion that we approve the signage that has been presented by Megan tonight for Chasebrook Park to be consistent with the newer signage that is at Parker's River Landing and at the Sandy Pond Park, and to somehow incorporate and honor the history. And maybe you want to come back with that piece of it. Or not. I don't know how the board feels about it, but in some way, make sure that the history and the donors' names are somehow incorporated in the park, but that the Route 28 signage be consistent with our most recent votes.
I second that.
Is there any discussion on that motion?
That sounds like a good idea that gives Megan the latitude that she needs. And I just point out that the history is sort of vanishing as we look. I mean, Yankee Village Restaurant, the Christmas tree shops, Salty's Diner. Well, this would be a nice memory of them.
Some of them aren't even already there, but, Okay, any other discussion on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
Megan.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Megan.
Christine.
Thank you, Christine.
All right, next up we have, oh, look at that, it's 9:05. How odd is that? Our 9:05 item is the naming policy. We have the current naming policy, which was dated September 30th, 2008, and we have a draft naming policy here in our packet. I had one question about something that was left off from the old one. There's only basically 5 points on the old one. I didn't highlight it, though. Particular, the bid receiving approval. I just have a question because it talks about this policy does not apply to other municipal properties that have been placed exclusively under control and authority of another town board or commission.
I can explain that.
Yeah.
Under Massachusetts general laws or under a vote at town meeting, there are sometimes properties that are put under the care of the Conservation Commission or some other body or board. The most common example is Conservation Commission. So that's, and typically Mass General Laws recognizes their authority on naming.
I think that this is, while that is probably the intent, I'm not sure, you know, I would say that recreation is under the Recreation Commission. So are we giving our authority to name that parcel to them by having this worded in here?
If the vote of town meeting, or if there's a law or some other measure that was taken that sort of ties our hands, I think that's what it's intended to refer to. That's my interpretation of it. When this was worked on by Karen, I had given her naming policies of other similar municipalities. And there was a general understanding in other communities that there are some properties that are under the care of conservation commissions when they're required. In some cases, it's by statute, or it's by actually the vote of the town meeting. And so, I mean, we could conceivably have an article that acquires a property at town meeting, authorizes the acquisition of the property, and the article could name the property. That's allowed.
I don't know, I understand the intent, but I don't think that that's what we have here. I think somehow we need to, I don't know, maybe it's by vote of town meeting or control and authority.
Well, we do have properties that are town-owned that are under the control of other boards.
Correct.
And,
So that's why I'm asking, are we relinquishing our authority to allow other people to name those properties? That's what that's what this says to me.
Because it does, yeah.
So say, for instance,
well, one of the things you could do is that you could make it tighter and make it applicable only if we're required to submit to another authority, right?
I still can't picture where we'd be required.
Well, I think
give me a
if you'd like,
conservation example of a parcel that they would name that we wouldn't want to have a vote on. I'm just hypothetically.
I understand. No, I think
There
if-
was one messy thing a couple years ago where somebody on the Recreation Commission was talking to a family and suggested that their name go on something. I don't know if it was the whole park, but, you know, occasionally people freelance.
That's still out there, too. Hasn't been resolved.
Well, and, you know, I guess you could split hairs that they would say that the parks are in the authority of the Recreation Commission, right? But
I think ultimately the select board should be the ones that have the authority to name a park.
You should reserve all naming.
Naming
Yeah.
to the
And if there's
select
an
board.
extenuating circumstance, it doesn't mean that the select board wouldn't understand that.
Yeah, but it's still, I think.
Again, this is a common policy that was drafted in several other municipalities.
Gotcha.
So it was, sometimes you work with things that work well in other places. So, like I said, this was lifted because in other communities, they probably have more properties that are named and controlled by other non-select board, you know. Again, there's no pride of authorship in this. If you want to strike some language, like I said, this actually came up when we were dealing with the drive-in site, and the thinking at the time was that maybe we need an updated policy. That's where this came, and then we went through the process of doing a naming under other circumstances. But I do think there is a value in having an updated naming policy, and I think if
agreed.
this board wants to strike that language,
I'd like to
that's
see it struck.
fine with me.
I would like our staff to incorporate both of them together for, only because, like, okay, so you start to read what we're getting rid of, right? The town administrator who will forward it to the appropriate town department or division for review. I'm not sure in the new policy what the process is.
Yeah, it has it all in there. What do you mean? It's, suggestions are made. It must be, if it comes from the public, it must be supported by registered voters.
Registered voters, so we have to bring the, we have to.
If it comes from a member of the public.
Oh, so that's like a petitioned
But
name.
that's not how, that's
Okay.
not how it happens now. Somebody can petition us. We don't have to bring it to town meeting.
It doesn't say town meeting. It just says, they want support. So if somebody decides they would like to name something, they need to have not just them, but 50 other neighbors agree.
Sounds like a history of the landing.
We don't need to do that, no, because what happened like with smugglers, right? A person came and they brought it to us, and we didn't need the voters, we have the
Okay.
authority to make that.
I-
I'm
but
just
I
saying
do-
that if
yeah.
we could take, I think this is a great start, I definitely think we should update it, but I think we should take and make sure that all the pieces that are here, we're not getting rid of the process, and things like, before it goes to town meeting, why do we need it to go to have it a petition article?
Well, there's a couple
I
of
don't
issues
think
I
that's what
think
it's saying.
that need to be talked about separately. I think if you're incorporating the old policy, to me, the thrust of this old policy is that anybody, like, the naming goes to the highest bidder. It just seems unseemly. I think it should be
talking
up to
about the
the
old
select board. I'm talking about the old one, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if you'd want to incorporate those things. And, you know, there's another thing that I'll just say this, take the heat, you know, on the Parker's River Landing, I think that the select board did a great job with that a couple of times. But I really didn't like to see a process where, you know, you have an advisory committee and then they come before you and they threaten you and say, well, if you don't do what we want, we're gonna take it to town meeting. And I think you ought to clarify that and just say that if it's under statute, it's the select board that has the naming, and the town meeting does not review that naming. So that way, people don't come in and say, well, if you don't do what I want, I'm gonna do, you know, it takes just a
Yeah.
handful of signatures to bring it to town meeting, and then, you know.
All
it's
bets are
just-
off.
It's not a good way to do it.
Yeah,
I'm fine with that. Do you think we could just
as-
tighten it up?
as Bob says, under Massachusetts general law, it's the select board that has the primary responsibility for naming properties, all right? That's what it says in the policy. It's a recognition. But that under other circumstances, there are properties named by other boards that have, perhaps under general laws, that same power. I think that statement is abundantly clear, that anybody wants to know about naming, it says it right there. This policy recognizes that under Mass general laws, it's the select board that makes the call. And I think that trumps, now we can get an opinion from town council, I think that even trumps town meeting.
Well, because we're the ones who appoint the boards.
Because it's Mass general laws gives us the authority now.
I don't know. I kind of think it's important to leave the window open for the public to participate in these decisions, and that's the only window they have.
Well, we let them participate and then we ignored them the last time, so I'm not sure about that. But anyway,
Well, you need a new policy. This was a draft.
Absolutely.
And
Does it-
like I said, I put some ideas together based on what other towns
Thank you,
did.
Mark.
I gave them to Karen Green before she left. This is what she came up with. We never really moved on it because I think the Parkers River thing sort of moved at a different pace. And this thing was sort of sitting there. But we still have no really decent naming policy. So
It's a good- good-
I'm open to consider any and all amendments.
Me too.
I agree with
But I
Bob
think that- I think this is a good
the
start.
highest bidder thing, and I definitely think it should be changed. But I just want to make sure that the process is clear on how it arrives at us.
So maybe you want to propose some changes.
I
Madam
don't,
Chair.
I would like staff to make sure that we're,
another go
we
around.
have a process and that this is this just, Karen, this never went through town administration, right, or?
Right.
Okay.
This was something
I
that,
would like you to take a look at it and make sure it's consistent with Mass General Law, and to make sure it's as clear as not mud.
Clear as mud.
Personally, I have no problem with the sentence, "This policy recognizes the Massachusetts general laws, gives the authority and responsibility for the naming of municipal property and with local select boards," period.
Then let's take out the last sentence then, in that applicability.
Yeah, I don't think we need it.
take it out. Fine with me.
That works.
I still don't see a process of which it comes to us, so.
You don't?
Well, nothing gets named unless we name it.
Right.
That's what the
Yes.
policy says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys, whatever you
and
want to do, I'm just telling you my concerns.
Yeah, it just talks about where it comes from and then what
Yeah.
you, if, you know.
We're the
it's-
ones that name.
And I don't
That's what
believe-
Mass General Law
I
says.
don't believe it needs to go through the public, so I think to that extent it needs to.
Strike that then.
Okay. I would like a nice, fresh, good copy to vote on personally.
So we take that up
After
next
staff.
time with a clean copy, or would you like a motion now?
No, you guys do whatever you want. If you want to make a motion and approve it with amendments or whatever you want to do. I'm saying I would like staff to look at it and make
But
sure it's.
give them till the next meeting then, yeah.
That's just me. If you guys
Okay,
want to.
I kind of like the final paragraphs about before making a final decision. Or if the board decides to consider naming a particular property or portion thereof, you make an announcement at a public meeting, and that gives an opportunity to receive comments from the public.
This doesn't even require a quorum of the board. So if you have 3 members present, it doesn't, this isn't.
How does a board meet and decide on anything without a quorum?
I'm saying if there's 3 people here with a
Three
quorum.
would be a quorum, though.
Quorum.
It says a majority vote.
Am I looking at the same? Oh, you're looking at the final sentence?
That's what you said. You're looking.
No, I was looking at, I was reading the third paragraph up from that final paragraph.
Not that complicated.
No, it's not.
Are you
But I
calling me
like the
stupid?
fact that you have an
Not
opportunity.
complicated, So I'm an idiot, because I don't understand it? I want it to be clear. I don't think it's.
Make
as clear.
changes.
I have made my comments.
You've just asked the staff to review it. That's not a change.
I don't think we need the final sentence.
The final sentence?
Yeah. I mean, no, the final paragraph, beg your pardon,
There you go.
for the reasons Tracy was
Said.
mentioning. But I do like the public having some opportunity to be a part of the decision.
Well, we always meet and make these things in a public meeting, but what does that mean by having them, what does that mean?
It means that they just can make a suggestion. It just gives the board, we may solicit comment. For instance, the paragraph, during the comment period, the board may solicit comment on the naming from the historical commission or other committees, blah, blah, blah.
Doesn't that take care of it? That in the paragraph, it's very public.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Any
I
select
think
board.
that's good.
That's good.
Yeah.
Sounded like you
It
didn't
calls
like
for a comment period and public, engagement, which is what I'm saying is good.
Yeah, no, that is good.
Okay.
I make a motion that we refer this to staff, who may even need to consult legal, I guess, with a mission to come back with 2 suggestions that they think are sensible,
versions?
given that we're supposed to be in charge of naming.
You want 2 versions? Is
Two
that what you're
versions, though.
saying?
Wouldn't you just want them to review it and come back with what
Yes.
overall, I mean, like, just,
Maybe just, and give us the,
just-
give us the bylaw text as well.
I mean, for me personally, I have no problem with this, except for that one that says that this policy does not apply to other municipal properties that have been placed exclusively under the control and authority of another town, board, or commission, simply because I think it gets confusing.
Right.
I have
So
no
if you
problem
take
with cutting that.
out, I'm fine.
I think that makes a great deal of sense right there. Yep.
Well, we're referring it, so it's referred.
So let me just ask you a question that, if there's something that the board wants to name, the board could bring it up that they want to name something. It could be suggested to the board by a town official or committee or member of the public. And if it's from a member of the public, they want to get some signatures. But that's the method.
So that would be the process that Tracy would like to
So
see.
the board can bring it up themselves, or someone can suggest it to the board. But the key thing is you can't come in and threaten the board. It's the board's decision.
Right.
And that is clarified.
I would like that clarified.
Okay.
And I think, I don't know how the board feels about them collecting signatures. We don't request that now. If somebody wants to,
I like it because otherwise you get frivolous stuff and the onus of having to collect a few signatures. 50 is nothing.
What do you think? 500 signatures?
No, 50. I mean, it's we're not trying to
darn.
kill them, but it just prevents the 25 million different suggestions.
See, part of this is to make it abundantly clear that it's the select board that's in charge of this, all right?
Which is why that
Because
first sentence-
that's why there's a naming policy. So when people go running around and say, I want to name this park for my Uncle Fred, he was a great guy, he was on the post office, or whatever, right? We have all heard those stories. And so the value of having a policy is that it makes it abundantly clear that it's us, and this is the process, and these are the factors. So I would say to someone, if they were lobbying me during my office hours, that they want,
It's thunder.
Oh,
is that what that is?
Yeah.
Whoa,
There's
we have
orange
good
on
lightning
it.
rods, right?
I've been watching radar.
okay.
so Margaret, do you think that the 50 signatures are something that you want? And then, so what, does that
No,
get
I think,
certified by the town
I think
clerk?
what we did was put something together. A number of other communities had that recommendation, and what we wanted to do was put together what we thought made the best from a small selection of communities that had what we thought were good policies, and so we put them together, and this is what Karen thought made sense, and I thought it was a good place to start. I'm not wedded to that 50, 10, whatever, but I'm just saying this is what other communities thought was good. I'm very agnostic. I do think, however, though, as Liz said, having people think a little bit about it before they just drop something in and spend a little bit of time and energy behind it. In doing so with a policy that names the other factors, I think is important. So I think when you add that to the totality of it, maybe it doesn't have to be 50. Maybe it can be another number. But the point is that it requires a certain degree of work.
Yeah, and support.
And to show, it shows in creating an administrative record for the select board, it creates at least a sense that there's some community support.
That's what is important. We got to recognize the
Right.
community.
Right. And then having some public hearings, some public vetting, and awareness of it at least covers us, that we can't be accused of having done it in the dark of night or
So
at the...
when it says public hearing, then is that advertised public hearing, or is that just at a public meeting? I mean, these are the things that,
That's a good question.
I mean, but
I
there's a lot
understand.
of them. Okay, so the 50 signatures is fine if that's what we want, but what, as certified by the town clerk? I mean, we
Yes.
got to get into
Do you think
details here.
legal
This
needs to
isn't-
take a look?
No, well, on this?
I mean, I just think it needs to be more clear, that's all. I'm not
Registered
saying it's
voters,
bad,
so
it's
yes,
just
that
we
would
need
have
to
to
go
be-
through it
would have
and
to be-
think about these
yeah.
questions, that it's a good start.
Again, in many of the others that we saw, it didn't say certified by the town clerk, but I think that's a legitimate suggestion, sure, put that in.
You can just say certified,
Yeah.
as evidenced by their certified signatures.
Yeah, so you get that, Bob?
Yes.
I think he can take it from here.
So you can bring us back something that,
Again, this was drafted based on the best
Yeah, it's
policies from a
really good.
handful.
So should we say a public, in a public meeting, or do you want it to be an advertised public hearing?
I'm not sure I would call it an advertised public hearing, but we've,
say in a
So
public-
in a public meeting.
we've done public hearings on the budget, right? We've done a public hearing on the capital budget. Those are advertised.
I just don't know who's gonna pay that, you know what I mean, like, is it
$100
something
a
that we
pop,
want the
yeah.
public to know before we do it?
One thing that you should do is change it, the board may hold a public hearing.
There you go.
Shall.
Ooh,
May.
yes.
Not shall,
Not
because the
shall, but
board
may.
decides,
May.
the board is the one who decides if
Right.
the interest is significant.
Yes, there you go.
And then if the board decides we want to hold a hearing, why don't we put it in the paper, you know?
I don't have a
But
problem with that.
then it's up to the board to decide this needs a hearing, then we're going to advertise it. If not, it's
Well,
at a
how
public
else do
meeting.
people know about it?
Yeah, isn't that what a public hearing is that we advertise it?
Don't they
It's
know
normally a
about it if
public
they look
meeting
on our
unless you
agenda?
decide
Yeah, if
it's a
they're-
public hearing,
ask
and then we advertise it like we do all of our hearings.
if it's on
It's
the
arbitrary
agenda.
for us to decide whether or not there's public interest without the public being noticed.
That's what I'm saying. So you put the public hearing requirement in there.
Okay.
Every time you name something,
That's what I think we need to clarify.
yeah.
It says we may decide. We may decide something, yeah, may, yeah.
But then there's two places where I think that has to be
There's
changed.
a lot to be said about, like, when you say public hearing, as advertised in the paper, nobody reads the paper anymore. I mean, are we really even,
Right.
are we really even advertising it where somebody,
Right.
does that mean as advertised on Facebook that?
I'm not saying I want it advertised, I'm saying these are things that need to be clarified.
To me personally, if it's on our agenda, it's a public hearing. I mean, just by the nature of it being on the select board agenda. And,
Then I would say public meeting.
yeah, public meeting's fine, it doesn't have to be hearing.
But again, the way Bob was suggesting the language, he was suggesting may.
See, here's
You're
the,
giving notice to the people that may be pushing for something.
here's the process, right? Let's just talk, it's a structural process, right? Now, if you follow the whole process, what it's saying is that if the board is going to do a naming, it announces it at a public meeting. So you're already there. That's your minimum floor, at a public meeting. And then it says the board shall provide opportunity to receive comments for 30 days. These are standards, right? So you establish your standard, they're all done at public meetings.
Yeah.
And then it's left open on the, after the first hearing for 30 days to receive comments. Now, the thing is you have to leave this to the board's discretion. If in that comment period, you receive a lot of comments, then you may take a vote that you want to raise the level of the performance standard to an actual hearing. And so you start off, it's a public meeting, you start off with a minimum public comment period, and if the comments come in, if you decide that it should be elevated, you decide that it's a public hearing. And if it's a public hearing, we'll advertise it on the website, we have all kinds of ways of advertising it. But you see how that, it's set up for the selectmen control it, it's at a public meeting, and if you're moved by how many people come out, then you can have an extra, and if you remove the word hearing, you can say you could have an extra public meeting.
Right.
But that's the idea, is it starts here, and then it goes to this step, and then if you decide, you can elevate it to a third step.
and the process is transparent rather than making it up as you go along.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right?
Yep.
I like that.
All right, that way the public, so again, if someone is approaching us with naming a park after Uncle Fred, they at least are served notice that this is the process.
Yes.
So whether it's Uncle Fred or Aunt Mary or somebody else or the Pope, whatever it is,
And all
this
50
is our
cousins.
process. I like the fact that what other towns recognize is that some places are just known for a geographical feature. It's like when Sandy Pond, right?
Right.
Sandy Pond, that's,
I like that,
we all refer to that as Sandy Pond. That makes sense to name the Sandy Pond Park or the Sandy Pond Playground, the Sandy Pond Playground. That makes eminent sense, right? So it suggests in the policy that people shouldn't be surprised if we name something after that place.
Yep.
And that as far as it being an actual person, that they have to have done something significant
Some association with it.
to make
Right.
make that possible. So just because you like some child's name and you want to have it on the playground
Yeah,
doesn't
no.
mean that that person really
Exactly.
meets the criteria for why they should be on the playground.
Exactly. Yeah,
Uh-oh.
because there are many people that get emotionally connected to,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yep.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So it's sort of like, well, what's their connection to that site, right? What's their connection?
Or to
Good.
the town in general. Okay,
Or-
so
yeah.
So
let's
can we
let
ask
Bob
Bob
have
and
another
Amy to
go-around.
help on this?
yes.
Bring it back.
Bring it
We'll
back?
put it on for our next vote. The next agenda. Perfect. Thank you.
All right.
Thank
Board
you.
and committee actions,
Okay.
before we lose power.
Yeah.
Yes. In which case, they would serve forever. Isn't that the way we do it? I'd like to propose that we accept the resignation of Eric Weston from the Board of Health with thanks for his service during an especially colorful few years on the Board of Health.
So moved.
Second.
With thanks.
Any discussion?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to vote that we accept the resignation of Mike Duffy from the Cape Light Compact Governing Board alternate rep position. He's brought engineering expertise, but he's putting his engineering expertise totally into Energy Committee right now.
So moved with thanks.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Nope. Okay.
We
All in
have to
favor?
vote. Good.
Aye.
Okay. Then appointments, we will have one edit on the appointments. I'd like to propose the appointment of Christine Dolan to the Conservation Commission for a 3-year term to end June 2029.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, then the next one is the one that requires an edit. The Cape Light Compact Governing Board appointments run by the calendar year. So what we'd be doing is we'd be wanting to appoint Cape Light Compact Governing Board alternate rep Michael Ahern from Energy Committee to finish Mike Duffy's unfinished term and have that end December 31st, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, reappointments. We have reappointments to the Historical Commission. Julie Maccabee and David Giannakopoulos for 3-year renewals ending July 2029.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And then for Sam Lawrence, a 1-year term that will extend through July 2027.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, then our final item is Recreation Commission. For Mary Johnson, a 3-year term that would run through July 2029.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And for Debbie Clark, a 1-year term that would run through July 2027.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right.
Since it's 1
Wonderful.
year.
Upcoming agenda review, we just added something to our next meeting. We just added the, for policy naming vote.
August 11th, naming policy.
Okay. All right, recognition of Andy, so we get to give him accolades once again. The dog hearing will be on there.
Maybe.
I think it will be.
It's been postponed a couple of times now.
Yeah, everyone's had their chance to say they can't make it once. And
Whoa.
Moving right along.
We got those appointments.
Well, wait a minute, are we moving right along, because we just, our recordings stopped.
Oh.
TV might be down.
Someone's gonna have to take some minutes.
I have it. It's all on a server. So
You got it?
So we can
Even
keep going?
even if we continue?
Cablecast is recording now.
Okay.
Just not live, and
That's
I think
okay.
the Zoom recording is done.
All right.
But I still have.
Thank you, Liam.
Brilliant.
Thank you,
Thank
Liam.
you.
No problem.
Perfect. All right, wonderful. So then we have the Long Pond study, disbanding the drive-in site utilization committee, and discussion vote on complete streets. The other, and maybe I'm missing this, I have a letter here that was in the packet that, for signature for support of legislation review for local aid. Did we vote on this already?
Yes, we did it.
That's
at
over,
our last
isn't it?
meeting.
You did it last
Wanted to
time?
make amendments to it. I missed that part of the meeting. I had to go get the presentation from substance.
Yeah.
Sorry, letter, when you had spoken about it, it was going to the conferencees, so we had asked to just send it to the legislative delegation.
But the board already took a vote on this?
They did, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, I'm just making sure before I sign it, because I don't remember.
That was the last meeting, wasn't it?
Yep, and that language got stricken.
And Tracy,
Was
the
this
Cape
already
Light
moved?
Compact would like to give a report at some point, like September, fine, because we've been paying attention to your wish to hear updates from what's going on boards we have a representative on.
All right, great, so we'll have to find out when we can meet with them. Bob, can we add that, the Cape Light Compact, to
Cape Light
upcoming,
Compact?
to find out when we could coordinate that?
Is there any need to attend to the library building committee?
You mean disband it?
Mm-hmm.
No, they were only in effect
Through the vote?
through the vote. That was it.
So they're disbanded automatically?
Right.
So whatever happened, I know I had asked you before about Mary Alice reaching out to our Assembly of Delegate member about coming. I think that's dropped off here now, just for an update.
I'll have to check on the status of that. I know there
I
was
know
some
that
contact
originally
made.
she said she would come, and then there was some, and I just would love to know what's going on in that regard.
And are we still working away with, we had the letter from the school committee
That'll be
about,
They were
August 10th.
seeking legal, yeah.
That's August 10th, right?
August 10th, and I had that for my update to bring up. Thank you, everyone, for
okay.
responding to the email, and because we have to get back to the superintendent on who's going to be attending. And I have Tracy Post and Joyce Flynn will be representing the board at that meeting.
Right. I mean, it's open for everybody if,
Well, we would have
They
to
asked,
post.
working.
they asked for a representative.
okay.
We got 2 people responded that they wanted to go, so that's what we got
Perfect,
so
and
far.
that's not a quorum, so then we don't have to, all right, as long as the board's comfortable with that representation. If everybody wants to attend and participate, then let us know, we should post a meeting.
no, not me.
Okay. And so for the public, we had our goals meeting on Saturday, and are there I know that this agenda came out before we had our goals meeting, so are there, I can't remember now.
We have to, my recollection is we have lots of things that we wanted to, but I feel like we need to wait for Bob to
Great, yeah, you guys are doing my report, so this will good, this will cut it
Okay,
short.
so as far, all right, we'll move on. Does anybody have anything else for upcoming agenda review then?
No.
Okay, great. Individual items. Liz?
I wanted to report that I have reached out to Cape Media, and the new executive director and I will be meeting this week at some point.
Excellent.
The working group for the capital improvement program, that's something that, Bob, you're going to set up, right? And we'll have a working group, much like we did at the for the goals meeting for the capital improvement program or plan or whatever, the P.
Yep, that's part of the goals.
Right. Okay, so we'll wait on that.
Yep.
The other thing, I wanted to report that we had our discussion about the library at the goals meeting, and we are continuing to meet as a fundraising group, and I did reach out to the Inspector General's office because Dorcas was a little bit concerned about a conflict of interest.
Or abuse of power.
Or abuse of power, and he has confirmed that there's no it yet, there's no entity. It's 5 people who are meeting to talk about what might happen. So he feels very strongly that there's no conflict of interest or abuse of power. So just to report back on that.
So if you're going to have a bake sale or a car wash, you just don't use the town shield? With the fundraising?
Absolutely, that's
Okay.
correct, yes.
I'm relieved.
I think the difference in, well, I mean, it's your, that an ethics thing that people should understand is that's your personal thing, that if you're in violation of it, that's your personal fine, it's not this board.
Right.
But the key to that piece is, and you said it at our goals meeting, which may make the difference, is that you said it might be a private library, that's one thing. But if it's something that ultimately you're gonna donate back to the town, that money, I think that's where, and obviously my personal opinion, I've said it before, I think you put business owners in while it may be fine ethically, I think it puts them in a difficult position as a select board member to say no to you,
But I'm not soliciting anything. That's important for everybody to understand. All we're doing is meeting as 5 people to talk about what might happen. There's no 501c3, there's no nonprofit. All we're doing is talking.
Okay.
So there's.
I think if you're concerned about appearances and potential conflicts, there may be some value in officially disbanding the committee. That way, no one could accuse.
The library committee?
Yeah, that way, no one could accuse a member of the committee.
she's not a member of the committee, she wasn't on that.
Oh, you weren't? Then-
No, I was
This was our representative. She's doing it as an individual. She's trying to
Got it.
fundraise for.
So there
No,
isn't.
no, and let's back up. I'm not trying to fundraise for anything. I'm helping them with their coordination of a talk as 5 people. So we're not fundraising yet. We don't have any.
I just think in
have an
terms of
organization.
appearances' sake, that if there's something going on, I don't want to be getting questions if the committee's been disbanded and there's something else going on with the private group. I think there might be some value in just officially disbanding that committee.
That's probably.
I think from my point
right,
of view,
and
that
that's
way
why
I
I
don't.
kind of brought it
No,
up.
because, I think there may be some value in doing that. So I think if there are these other discussions going on, I don't want people to assume that it's being done, these meetings are going on with the support of the select board.
Right.
All right?
How about if I throw disbanding the committee onto appointments next time?
We should definitely, I was gonna say, we should definitely look at the charge and see if it's,
Disbandable?
Yeah.
no, if it's already dissolved.
Because that's
and if
what
it
we
needs-
assumed, but we need to verify.
I think there was some value to if indeed it has been disbanded, to at least make an announcement that it has, all right, under appointments, when that comes up. Joyce, I think it's a great idea.
That will be a clear division,
Yeah.
chapter 1, next chapter.
And, yeah, so if there's something else that comes up, it's gonna have to be a whole new committee.
Okie dokie. So those were my individual items.
And I have no individual items.
None for me.
I'm waiting for the lightning to strike. So,
No, my poor little Coco.
I know, poor
Yeah,
Coco.
all
All
right.
right.
Little
Are we
dog
ready
is
to-
also
Okay, so
freaking out.
we have a consent agenda here. On the consent agenda, we have an employment agreement for Bob Lawton that extends his.
Bob Rittenauer.
Did I say Bob Lawton?
Oh,
Yes,
here today.
has struck.
Oh, sorry, that's,
thinking.
no, not what wishful thinking.
No, that's classic Bob. We're dealing with contemporary Bob.
TV's back.
Well,
All right, so
The
this,
monitor's on.
this extends his time to April 5th, 2027? Is that
That's one
correct?
additional year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I thought
I
we moved to have it,
We did that and we did that in executive session when we were moved to.
Yes.
No, you said, you had originally made the motion for December 2026 to the end of the year, and then I think he said April 2027. What are you thinking?
it's not my memory of it at all.
Gives you, remember we talked about this, it gives a little, you know,
Overlap.
flexible time, yeah.
Yeah, a
So,
little bit
so
over
that
that.
it's, you might want to go, you know, we got town meeting and stuff like that, you might need some more help there. And then, if you want help after that, I'd, you know, still be available. like,
Yes.
on a part-time basis, but
Yes.
that way at least you have, you know, the contract covered, it's not, you know,
So what do I do? I made a motion and it passed. Do we just,
What was, I'm sorry.
it was to extend the contract through December 31st, 2027. I made that in executive session, and it was seconded by Dorcas, and we passed it.
you have to vote it in public session.
I know, but she's saying the date's not consistent with what we voted in executive session. So
It
can we,
doesn't have to be. It's what you vote in public session. I just, what we talked about, add, you know, you add an extra year. If you want to do it till, change it to December, do that. Whatever, you know, makes you more comfortable.
Personally, I'd like to see, how do we make it then December 31st for 2027?
we just amend this,
Okay,
is what he's saying.
okay. Okay.
So that keeps you on longer.
No,
No,
that cuts off
No,
shorter.
No,
no,
no.
she's talking about to the end of 2027.
2027.
Is that
Instead
something?
of April.
Because that was the
Talking
motion.
December 31st,
Yeah, that's what I remember too.
2027.
You're right, Joyce. That work for
Your
you?
original contract was till April of, yeah.
So maybe
We
we just
talked
didn't,
about-
maybe we just didn't get the updated one here. Can you review the,
Catch, Joyce.
If you want, I make a motion that
Just-
we,
he's reviewing.
you want to wait.
well, no, I just want to make sure that if Bob doesn't have an intent of staying till the end of,
I'm not sure what you're reading.
so,
You
I'm
gotta like
reading
look
this.
at the document.
I,
This says, April 28.
Oh,
Oh, wait.
It goes to April 27 already. And what you wanted to do is add another year to it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't realize we talked about 2028 at all. I'm now at C.
okay, I see what you're saying. The term of this agreement is to extend for a one-year period until April. Okay, so our vote at the meeting was December 2027.
That's what I
Yes.
remember. But now we go in, yeah, okay.
So we need to,
Is it the preference of Bob that we go till April 2028? I just, this was new to me with this agenda because it didn't seem to be one of the possibilities we talked about last time.
Yeah, what we talked about was that, my target retirement date is the beginning of is 28, but we'll extend the contract out a year to allow if there's any like float time. So
Right.
it's not like a drop dead situation, but at least you're covered till 28, contract-wise. So we don't have to renegotiate that.
So you would suggest that the end date, the ideal end date would be,
April 2028, so we need to amend you need to amend your motion.
Is that right, Bob? I
No,
thought-
yes, hold on a second. I think what we should do to be consistent is to leave section B here that says the town will grant town administrator 5% merit increase in a 5% cost of living adjustment effective April 5th, 2027. And then in A, say the term of this agreement shall extend until December 31st, 2027, with all compensation and benefits to remain in place.
Okay,
And then we're
that's-
consistent
yeah.
with the vote we already took, and if we need to do anything beyond that, we can have another discussion. So, instead of up here, Bob, where it says by a period of 1 year?
I got it.
Okay. Is there a motion to amend the consent agenda?
Motion to amend the consent agenda?
Second.
Any
Motion
discussion
to
on that?
approve the,
All those in favor?
aye. Motion to approve the consent agenda?
Is that our only item on it? Yeah.
All right. Town administrator.
Okay.
Well,
I guess we
nobody
did.
voted on that.
We did. All those in favor, we said aye.
We voted on the amendment to the approval to.
Yeah, and then we'd,
It would be the
so-
same
The
thing.
amendment was the only thing in question, right?
Okay,
We just,
okay, good enough.
we voted to approve the amended agenda.
All right, so we
I
don't-
think
don't
we
have
did.
to approve the
Is
consent
anybody else
agenda.
unclear on that, or we're good?
we're good.
You can tell we're getting fuzzier as it gets later.
I get fuzzy every time when I show up these days. I'm getting old.
So are we all.
So what's up, Bob?
All right, well, just congratulations on a very successful goal-setting workshop, which you conducted last Saturday, July 18. It's a very valuable process that the board goes through in setting the major priority for the town for the upcoming year. Now, currently, I have all the material, we have very detailed notes, and then we have all of the big sheets that are rolled up, that's called the scroll.
Scroll.
And so I'll be processing, along with Amy, the scroll, and we'll be preparing a draft of the goals that we'll present to the select board, hopefully at your next meeting, and you'll be able to review those and then get an approval on how the draft looks, and then we'll move towards the implementation phase, which I'm very much looking forward to. Not only the capital improvement task force that we're going to be working on, but I think more importantly, working with the individual departments on, getting them involved with the update of the goals, and folks have been looking forward to that. So thank you very much. That really gives us the fuel that we need as an organization to push everything forward. I want to hand this out. You don't need to take any action on it, but if you could maybe just grab one and hand them down. I promised I would do this at our last meeting, and this is the town meeting calendar for a meeting that's proposed for November 16, 2026. And what I wanted to just call your attention to, so you can start looking at the details of it earlier. You don't need to go through it this evening, but the key thing is that step one would be on August 11, 2026, would be to establish a town meeting date. So, and this shows you, if you do that, what all the different steps are and how they line up and everything. So
We need to have that on the agenda.
take a look at that. We'll put that on the agenda, but you have the detail now, so you get a couple of weeks head start on that one. And we talked already about the Dennis Yarmouth Regional School District Agreement, and that meeting is going to be August 10, and we've got our representatives there. I wanted to call your attention to, we had every meeting, we have the calendar. In the last few meetings, it's shown that next week I'm on a vacation, so I just wanted to make sure
Have a
I
great time.
warned everybody.
All right? Have a great time.
And that's all I had for this evening.
Why, thank you, Bob. I move to adjourn.
For a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Oh, let's have a discussion.
Have a great vacation, Bob.
Thank you, Bob.